Hello and welcome to the Mighty 90s Movie and TV Podcast. I'm Simon.
And I'm Dom.
And on this episode we are diving into Cool Runnings. Welcome to the Mighty 90s Movie and TV Podcast, where it's always 10:30 at night, so it's time to grab the snacks from the sweet cupboard, move upstairs and settle in, as tonight's movie for debate is Cool Runnings. So, really excited before we get into all of the goodness that we normally do, that we are actually joined by a member of the main cast, Rawle D Lewis, who plays Junior Bevel. So we will move over to Dom and I talking to an actual cast member, Rawle D Lewis, and find out what he has to say and go through the whole film and everything like we do as normal. So please enjoy. Hey, how's it going?
How you doing, man?
I am doing very well. Just to introduce myself, so I'm Simon. I'm the guy that's been frantically messaging you. And my co-host Dom is here as well. Dom?
Hello, nice to speak to you.
Hey, Dom. What's going down?
Rawle, can I just check? Am I saying your name right? I just don't. I know it might sound a little bit weird in our British accent. Is it Rawle?
You know what I like about the British people? They always get my name right.
Oh, right.
Americans always go Raleigh, Raoul. I've heard Ray Roo.
But Rawle is good.
Rawle is good. Perfect.
Well, I just have to start by saying this is kind of overwhelming. Like, the movie Cool Runnings is a massive part of my childhood, and I literally just watched it again this afternoon in preparation for this, and this is a great honour, so thank you so much for joining us on the podcast.
Oh, no problem, man.
How are you doing? Like, you're all safe and well with the whole COVID-19 situation where you are?
Yeah, being when you're an out-of-work actor, it just all feels like this.
This is habit.
Yeah, it's like what's only thing is now the whole world's going through it.
Right.
The whole world knows what it feels like to be an out-of-work actor.
Well, that's funny you say that, because I didn't know before this, but you are actually a stand-up comedian as well as an actor, right?
Yeah. Well, sometimes the audience doesn't know it either.
But is that what came first? Was it the stand-up comedy or the acting?
You know what? I was sort of doing it simultaneously, and I did stand-up comedy while going out on auditions and stuff. I did it not to be a stand-up comedian, but because I was afraid of it, and I thought it would help me get over my shyness. And then I got hooked on it because it was like this really cool thing that I was like, wow, people are laughing. Then I started to meet girls, so I was like, I'm not going to quit this now. You know?
Well, even just talking to you, messaging on Instagram and stuff, you were already just really funny. I was asking about your schedule in terms of trying to arrange this, and you were saying that you was going to rearrange your online crochet class, and, which I hope you are able to do, by the way.
Yeah. The funny thing is, you thought I was joking.
Hey, you got to find something to fill up the time, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. How long have you guys been doing this show? This is kind of funny to me. It's like a funny show to me. The concept, you know?
Thank you. Well, so Dom and I, we actually have grown up together, have known each other since we were like 4 or 5 years old. We're in our early 30s now. So we're long-time friends, and we grew up watching these films in the 90s. And then we started this show probably about 3 months ago. And it's just an enjoyable hobby, and we just enjoy, talking about movies. And then if we have the opportunity to leverage that into talking to our childhood heroes such as yourself, then that's even better.
It's hard for me to picture being someone's hero. I feel a little too naughty to be someone's hero.
Well, we feel really lucky because we've had obviously now got this fantastic chance to talk to yourself. and you're someone who's in a film that we loved growing up and like still now.
Cool.
And we had the chance to talk to Matt Doherty, who's in the Mighty Ducks as well.
Yeah.
So it's kind of,
That's pretty
for
cool.
for us, it's really surreal because we watched you guys in these films, and we still do now. And now we're getting the chance to talk to you, and it's quite like nerve-wracking a little bit for us, but we love it.
Don't worry, we're people just like you.
Yeah.
Well, you're people that can crochet though, and we can't do that. So
Still learning that cross strand pattern. Still getting it.
you'll get there. I believe it.
Yeah. You know, I've been to London a couple of times doing stand up.
Oh, really? How did you
Yeah.
find the London crowd compared to America?
I love it, and I don't want to bash American fans, but I like that you guys have an attention span. Like you can really tell a whole story there. You know, America, it's kind of like it's just a different style. You really got to hurry up and get to the joke, otherwise they get bored.
If you ever have any plans to come back to the UK, so Dom and I, we live just outside of London. We'd love to come and catch a show with you.
Oh, absolutely, man. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, just to go into you a little bit, if you don't mind. So, Rawle D Lewis, also known as, of course, Junior Bevel, who, in my opinion, and potentially is the real protagonist and star of Cool Run-Ins, but we'll get into all of that goodness. It's I read online, so correct me if I'm wrong, but you were born in the Caribbean and then moved over to the US. But you were originally brought into the Cool Run-Ins production to act as like an accent coach to help the actors, and then ended up doing a screen test, and then the rest is history, as they say. Is that an accurate statement?
That is correct. I was brought in because I'm from Trinidad, but even though the characters are Jamaican, but at the time, America is not very geographically astute. So but I do have Jamaican relatives, and the Caribbean community is really close knit, and so I was helping them figure out who had an authentic Jamaican accent. So I was helping the reader and coaching them along, and as I kept going, and they were I think they. And granted that our accents are really bad here. Like, it's like, as in London, you're exposed to a lot of Caribbean people, and you're sort of, it's one of your colonies, not you personally, but you know what I mean. But so you guys get it. But you guys get it. There's a lot of Caribbean people there, but here there's people don't hear the accent that much. So there are a lot of really bad accents, like Ethiopian. Everyone trying to slide in, like really. Nothing really Jamaican. And I told him, I said, look, I'm from Trinidad, but I'll do it Jamaican. I know Jamaican accents, and I have done plays and stuff like that with Jamaican accents. So I'll help you guys. And that's kind of what I was there for. And they eventually sort of I was trying to really get my friends into the movie. So I would really ham it up when my friends showed up. And I think that hamming it up ended up making me look better than as an actor, I guess. They're like, wow, this guy's really into it.
I read online was that the director, and forgive me if I'm pronouncing this wrong as well, is it John Turteltaub?
Turteltaub.
Yeah, he saw you in the play and was impressed with you from that as well. Was there some truth to that as well?
No, not really. He hadn't really heard. He hadn't really heard of me at all.
Damn, Wikipedia.
Yeah. Well, also, by the way, Wikipedia was very confused as if I was from the Caribbean at all. I think I had done a interview with is it Entertainment Weekly? You guys have a magazine over there.
That sounds familiar. So let's say yes.
Okay. Anyway, one of your magazines, and I was saying that how I had lied on my resume and said I had done a lot of work in the Caribbean, acting wise, and I hadn't done anything because I was just a kid. And so, but they flipped it and said, "Oh, he lied about being from the Caribbean." And I was like, "Wait a minute, no, I'm from the Caribbean. I lied on my resume." Anyway.
I read that as well, actually. So that's why I thought this is the opportunity. We can break it on our podcast as an exclusive, and we can write
the
this.
Truth. Yeah, well, to break another urban legend or myth is that John Turtletop had never seen me before. The casting assistant saw me in a play, and the casting assistant saw that I had, speaking of lying in my resume, I had, you know how there's a sort of on the program there's sort of the rundown of all your experiences on the play pamphlet, and I had done stuff in Trinidad because I had no experience acting wise. But I figured it was pre-Google, so who's gonna check Trinidad? Who's gonna call Trinidad to see if I was like this, if all this stuff is true on my resume? So that's what happened. So the casting assistant hated the play. I said, "Oh, how'd you like the play?" She goes, "Oh, it sucked." But but I see you're from the Caribbean. She said she was reading the play program, and she goes, "Yeah, we're doing this movie, and there's everyone's accent's terrible, and we need some help." And so I came in to help her and to help them with the accent. And that's when John Turtletop actually met me.
I actually thought John Candy did a pretty convincing accent all the way through.
Yeah, he was actually kind of the best out of all of us, to be honest.
My wife, her family originate from Jamaica and from St. Vincent in the Caribbean. And when we first sort of met, I had very limited experience of what I really knew about the Caribbean, apart from they have a bobsled team. And, you know, other little parts. I'm not a complete moron, I'd like to think, but, you know, pretty much. But she was the one that broke it to me that the four of you, the principal cast, were putting on accents. My whole childhood, I thought that, you know, you were all Jamaican.
Oh, your dreams are shattered.
I'm pretty sure the other guys are all from New York as well.
Yeah. Well, I'm actually the only one that was actually born in the Caribbean.
Yeah, I think the rest of the cast were from New York or the States. You're actually the only one that was pretty much almost genuine to Jamaica.
Yeah, and I think Dougie Doug was he sounded more Trinidadian than Jamaican, but he was doing like a Jerry Lewis accent, whatever that was. But I mean, nonetheless, it was all we all make fun of each other. But to be honest, I mean, we weren't really. What I tell people is like, look, this was Disney in the '90s. Like, you're lucky these characters weren't white, you know.
Yeah,
all played by white. Like, but we were very, you know, we were every time we tried to get too authentic, they really sort of you know, chastised us for whoa, like a couple of times, especially when we got to Jamaica, our accents got much better and thicker because we were hearing it all the time, and there was a lot of cut, whoa, that's too much accent. They even contemplated not having us do accents at all because they were so afraid that Middle America would not understand what the hell we were talking about.
I guess, yeah, you're right. I mean, it touches on some you know, great points and topics that I guess are rare, especially in those days, for Disney to sort of go near. That as we sort of get later down in the film, where there's, you know, sort of touches of racism and, well, definitely racism, but I mean, it doesn't, you know, go, you know, all the way in as bad as I'm sure it could have been if it was sort of done
Disney
by
racism.
Disney racism.
Yeah. So it's light racism, kind of the cutesy racism.
PG racism.
Yeah, my favorite type.
It's the Diet Coke of racism.
Yeah. Racism light.
It does have some good. Yeah, it still does have good messages that sort of pull over, I guess, even in those times.
Yeah, I mean, I being from the Caribbean, I felt a little embarrassed in the beginning about not being as authentic as we could have been, especially since we were not allowed to. Like, I can do a bad accent on my own. I don't need you to hinder my bad accent. You know? But so they really, they really got on us, you know. And we had a dialogue coach that was from Canada, and she had been to Jamaica when she was 4 years old. So that was a disaster waiting to happen. But I think the movie had so much. Thank God we all sort of John Candy. I give him the props to that. He had such a warmth and pathos that brought us together, and so he said, hey, it's important we keep the chemistry and the spirit of what these guys are able to accomplish. And I think that was the important part. That's why the movies, even with bad accents, we still people saw the heart in it.
Yeah, that's beautifully put. And John Candy, rest in peace, of course. Just he does seem to have a warmth that sort of comes out of the screen, not to sound, too cliche. So it's really nice to hear you say that, because I guess sometimes you worry that, people can portray these wonderful characters and you sort of hope that they are sort of like that in real life. So it's great to hear you say that, he was someone that, was authentically like that. And it must have been a great pleasure, I assume, to have worked with John Candy.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He sort of like exactly what you said. He definitely represented the persona he had on screen, and that was refreshing. And I was very young, so I thought that that's how actors were. I thought, wow, this guy is a movie star, and exactly as you see him on, actually even more so, as you see him on screen is exactly who he is, and his heart, not to sound corny, but his warmth, generosity, his heart was really big. And then subsequently after that, I met other actors thinking that they would be a lot like their persona, and was greatly disappointed.
You also were in K-Pax as well. How did that experience differ to Cool Runnings? Two very different movies.
Two very different actors as well.
Yeah, very different actors. Well, for one thing, I wasn't. You get a rude awakening when you're not the lead. You learn really fast that when you go to the dining, there's the craft services, or when it's time to eat, and you go, oh wow, steak, and they're like, no, that's Kevin Spacey's steak. You get the box chicken over there, and you really learn there's a pecking order, a hierarchy, much like your royal system in the casting world. Whereas in Cool Runnings, we were all sort of leads, and John Candy was sort of like all fair, and we all hung out together, and he treated everybody equally. And a lot of those sets, and not like, Ian Softly was the director, and he was a great guy, but you realize he didn't. He had to sort of kowtow to the stars. He sort of direct. It's the first time I'd seen like the director was not the foreman on the set. Was not the leader. It was like the star. Everybody sort of made way for the celebrities and looked the other way when people did stuff. Not to mention, I will not mention names like Kevin Spacey, but you know what I'm saying.
Yes. Many people have mentioned his name already, so I think.
Yeah, exactly. It would be overkill stating the obvious.
Well, I'll tell you now, the only reason I go back to watch any of his film would now only be to watch K-Pax, and it will only be to watch your part. So
it was a great set to be on, but it was very much the Kevin Spacey show. Whereas John Candy, he was the star, but he put us in the forefront. He said, "Look, he goes, I'm just here to get this movie made, but the story is the star." And I someone that giving, I have not met since, and I've met a lot of other celebrities, and I don't think it's very hard pressed to meet someone with that much kindness and generosity.
That's so nice to hear. The way that we'll go through this now is we'll just go around quickly and just say what we remember about Cool Runnings. So our experience will be a little bit different from yours, as
you probably remember more than me.
Just watching this back today, there's so much of this that is imprinted on me that I love. And then we'll talk about some of the trivia and some of the little bits, and then we'll just go through it. And yeah, like I said, this is a real honor. So let's get the crochet sets out and let's do this. So let's start with you, Dom, my friend. Dom, what do you remember about Cool Runnings?
So before I got the chance to rewatch it again, I obviously remember that it was in Jamaica. I remember John Candy, and I remember the four main guys in it who had absolutely no idea what bobsleighing was, and then being sort of that competitive and have that drive to really want to achieve something and really go for a goal. It didn't really matter what goal it was. It's just about pride, personal pride and national pride is kind of what I remembered from it. And obviously just from watching it as a kid. So when it came out, we would have been 6. I think we were 6. And then just finding it as like hilariously funny, but also quite heartwarming, especially, at the end when they've just got to finish the race, which is a really great touching moment. And I just remembered all those like little bits, little nuggets like that. What about yourself?
Yeah, I'll go, and then we can finish with the crescendo of Rawle. So I remember absolutely loving this film, and I have watched it so many times throughout the years, and each time I watch it, I kind of relate to different characters in different ways. So when I first watched it as a kid, I remember really sort of loving Sanka, and that was like my anchor, if I wanted to rhyme there, into the movie. And then sort of getting older, relating to different characters, and not saying it just because you're with us right now, Rawle, but Junior is the one that I actually relate to most now, and feel that actually has the strongest sort of storyline throughout the film, but we'll get to that. I remember in year 8 having to do a music project in school, and focusing it all on Jamaica, because I just wanted to, in those days, if you would get on the computer at school, and it was like, because you didn't have computers at home, so I was like, this is my time to look up Jamaica, so because I love Cool Runnings. And then I also remember, so I was, until recently, or I work in the realms of being a special ed teacher. And when I was like training, I was working as a teaching assistant in a college. And one afternoon, after sort of doing all of the stuff, they decided to put Cool Runnings on. And so I was sat there thinking, great, I'm in for a great afternoon, getting paid to watch Cool Runnings. I remember the student I was working with kept wanting to get up and go out of the room and go to the bathroom, and I was getting so annoyed because I just wanted to watch the film. And then also getting to the end of the film, and these were like new people that I hadn't known for very long, like the staff and the colleagues. And as you'll learn about me, I cry a lot in films, and I was just like bawling at the end of the film, but trying to like hold it in. And as I get older, I cry more and more. So I actually did a little tally on this watch, and I am not ashamed to say that I cried 5 separate times watching this film this afternoon.
Wow.
So one thing we've discovered about the difference between me and Simon is that as he's got older, he's opened up a little bit more emotionally, and he's a little bit more sensitive to things. And I apparently have become dead inside and don't react to anything.
So you're quintessential British, and he's becoming more American.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
That's a good way to put it. What about you, Rawle? What do you remember about Cool Runnings?
Well, it's so different for me because it was my first movie. So I remember I remember when I first was told I got the part in the movie. Should I go that far back?
Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
Well, I remember cleaning up my room. I had one of those what you'd call a single over here, which is like one room with your kitchen and bed and everything's in. And I remember cleaning it up, and I looked at the phone. I stared. It was landline, you know, and I stared at the phone, and I go, I think I got this part. And I stared. It was like magical. And then the phone rang, and the producer says, "Rawle." I go, "Yeah," and she goes, "You got the part. Congratulations!" And I was so matter of fact. I go, "Oh, thank you." And she goes, "What?" She goes, "Thank you." She goes, "You better be jumping up and down, buddy." And I was like, "Oh yeah, I'll do that." And I hang up. And she was so annoyed with me because I was so calm about it, which happens to be my personality. But and I remember hanging up, and I was vacuuming and dancing. I cranked the stereo and was dancing around. I was like, "Yay!"
You pulled a Tom Cruise.
Yeah, I did pull the with more rhythm, but yeah. And then I remember going to Jamaica. And I remember going to Canada and training in the bobsled. I just remember that was the most fun because it was like a track. It was like a fake bobsled on some train tracks, and we had to run and learn. They were very, very, almost militaristic about us not looking like idiots and learning how to run and jump in the bobsled. So we trained for like 2 weeks doing that, and I remember that was very crazy.
So by the end, you actually could bobsled then?
We could start like how like actual bobsledders do start. We knew how to run and jump. We had a good start time and everything, and we just wouldn't go down the all the way down because there was like a cable that would stop us, and then we'd get out and go to craft services tables.
grab a bagel, get back at it.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, can I just take a moment to say, Dominic, can you believe this is actually happening right now?
No, actually not.
Sorry, continue.
No. And well, one of the things that I noticed, like I remember, and the other thing I remember, now if I was to get within the movie itself, I'm gonna jump to watching the movie.
That's good.
I remember it being very surreal because no one thought the movie was going to do anything, right? Or this is really fascinating to me that you're showing it to your friends. And I've been around different parts of the world and have French people yelling "Rasta Rocky, beep beep," like yelling at me in the streets. And I thought, wow. At first, I thought it was a French racial slur.
that's not the diet racism. That's getting into the full fat regular racism there.
Yeah, I didn't know what that meant. That people kept yelling "Rasta Rocky, beep beep," like, beeping at me on there, and I thought, wow, this is so surreal because I'm just a kid from barefoot walking the streets of Trinidad, and now I'm in France and someone's yelling out at you. It's just surreal to me. And to hear you say that, showing it to your phys ed people. Why was that kid walking out of the room, by the way? That annoys me too.
Oh, anyway, not phys ed, special ed.
Oh, special ed. Sorry. Okay, well, never mind. He's okay then.
Well, they really loved this film. There's a few times people watching this film, but I mean, you have some of the key scenes in the film that are like the most famous, like as in like this. This must have given you fame, like as in if I saw you walking down the street, I wouldn't shout out absurdities at you, but I would be very British and very like, oh my god, that's a hero of mine. I'm not going to look at him, I'm going to look at my shoes because that's what we do here.
That's funny. I mean, actually, every time I go to the UK, I get treated very well by TSA, but I don't know what your version of, we call it TSA with the airport security.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone treats me sort of pretty good especially if they know if they've seen Cool Runnings.
It's certainly. I mean, I'm certain that it's massive all over the world, but I definitely know, all of our friends growing up, everyone knows this film and loves this film, and you have some of the pivotal moments in there. I see pride, I see Pat. We'll get to all of that, but
Right. Well, I will say, I will like to say one thing about the movie that to finish up what the movie means. My surreal moment in them being in that movie is that I remember, it comes on cable here. Like, this is years later now, and I'm watching in the middle of the night. It comes on cable, and then my part. Well, there's a part comes on where we're all carrying the sled over, to the finish line, and there's a part where my character's dad, shows up, and I didn't know, and he opens his shirt and he shows he's supporting, and I forgetting that I was in the movie, I start crying. I was like, oh, his dad shows up. That's really cool. And then I go, wait, you idiot, that's you. Like, I had to catch myself. I was like, what are you doing? You remember filming that? It was freezing.
Now I feel really bad and inadequate because you were in the film and knew exactly what was going to happen and you still cried.
Yeah, I feel like an idiot because I got caught. I sort of got caught up into the storyline.
It just means you have emotions and you're human, and I'm clearly not.
Rawle, you and me are fine. It's Dominic that has no heart. It's fine.
I've got the problem.
No, you've got a whole nation to back you up. It's okay.
Well, so let's talk about Cool Runnings. So it was released on the 1st of October 1993. It has a running time of 98 minutes and was directed by, you've already told me, so it's a shame on me if I get this wrong, John Turteltaub.
Yes.
Okay. That's close enough.
This is very carefully stated, yes.
Halfway through, I was unsure, but I thought I just got to commit.
We don't have a podcast lawyer, so we need to be really careful.
Right, I got you.
Dominic, this is going to blow your mind. John Turteltaub was also directed The Three Ninjas.
Yes.
Which is one of our favourite movies. Have you seen that, Rawle?
No, I feel ashamed. But I remember talking to him about it on the set because it was prior to it. It was what gave him the fame to then direct our movie.
Okay, you got to tell us what he said about, if you can remember, about Three Ninjas, because that's amazing.
Yeah, he that was his claim to fame. He loved that movie, not as much as shooting, filming our stuff, but he talked about it a lot on the set. That's
awesome because in this movie these three ninja kids. They're called Rocky, Colt, and Tum Tum, and I love that film so much that I told my parents, I demanded that they don't call me Simon anymore and they have to call me Rocky. My dad actually told that story at my wedding. They would call me down for dinner and be like, Simon, Simon, and I wouldn't come, and they'd come up to my room and be like, what are you doing? It's dinner. And I say, my name is Rocky. Call me Rocky and I'll come down. Just wanted to share that with you. Now I'm thinking, oh my god, I'm sharing that with a main cast member from Cool Runnings. What are you doing? Stop talking.
No, it's okay. I love it. That's what I love about movies, how it affects people in so many different ways.
Well, that's true.
Except me.
Yeah. Well, you're affected. You just, you're too cool to show it.
I think I always see the funny side in things, so...
Right.
What's funnier, Rawle, is Dom is actually an actor. Sorry, Dom, to throw you under the light here. So maybe
I was an actor.
You are an actor.
What would you say?
I would say I have a drama degree that I don't use.
Got it.
You're using it on this podcast, so it's good.
Yeah, you are using it in life. Everyone acts through life, right?
True. Very true.
So, John Turteltaub directed Three Ninjas. He also directed Phenomenon with John Travolta, which I love that movie as well, and National Treasure 1 and 2 with the one and only Nicolas Cage.
Obsessed.
And more recently, The Meg with Jason Statham.
Oh, wow.
Did you catch any of those ones?
I didn't see that one.
That one, The Meg, is good. It's all right. It's a good popcorn movie.
I saw him a month before this coronavirus thing, and he saw me doing stand up, and he goes, "Oh, maybe we shouldn't have put you in Cool Runnings. You'd be more famous now." he goes, "I didn't know that you could do stand up," and I said, I remember telling him that I didn't know you would end up doing something like The Meg. And we had a good laugh about it.
Well, that's good to know that you're still in contact. I mean, are you still in contact with any of the other people from the cast or production?
Oh, they're assholes. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, no. Because I live in Los Angeles and they live in New York, so we don't get to see each other as much. But how we keep in touch is on social media. Like every now and then we'll DM each other or like something that someone else has posted.
There definitely should be a Cool Runnings Bobsled Jamaica team WhatsApp group. And if you want to add me and Dom to it, we don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely, man. You guys know more about I find that almost everybody else knows more about the movie than I do. You've watched it more times. I've watched it maybe like 3 times.
Really? Only 3 times?
Yeah, whenever I'm feeling like I'm a loser, I watch it.
Well, that's good for your self-esteem that you've only felt like that 3 times.
Yeah. Well, then I feel like a loser for watching it, so then I don't watch it.
If I was in a movie and one of the leads, then it would be on like a daily loop. So.
In the background, as I thought about that as the women come over. Just play in the background in my bedroom.
Yeah. I think instead of having like a mirror on the ceiling, just have like a plasma screen with Cool Runnings going on mute.
Yeah, but then I have to watch everybody else. Like, I like John Candy, but I don't want to see him in.
Cool Runnings, obviously based on true events, with obviously some fictional differences, of course. We play a little game here, so I don't know if you'll know. So I'll come to you second, Rawle. But Dom, can you guess what the budget was for Cool Runnings?
I'm gonna say, so early 90s. Is it filmed in location? So I know it's filmed in Canada. Is it filmed in Jamaica as well?
Yes.
Okay, so you got to get everyone there. You got to get everyone back.
You're working out plane travel.
I am, but for the entire
That's pretty
cast good. I'll have to say, plus paying the talent, $20 million.
Ooh, 20. What do you have a guess, Rawle, or do you know?
I think it was 13 or 14. I think it was 14.
$14 million. That is what I read online. So yes, that was close though, Dom.
Well, because I remember they didn't want to spend a lot of money on it.
Well, that is pretty conservative, to be honest. For other movies we've done this with. I think Goldeneye we did last week, which was the James Bond movie. That was $60 million, so 3 times as much. But only 1/3 as good as this movie. So
yeah,
no, it was good. It was a bit boring in the middle. That was our conclusion, wasn't it? Dom?
Yeah, it's a bit crap in the middle, but the rest is fine.
I haven't seen that one either. That's the Pierce Brosnan, right?
It is.
Pierce Brosnan, yeah. Whereas Cool Runnings are just good all the way through. So.
And here's a little tidbit. John Candy took a pay cut to do that movie.
I was just gonna.
Oh, wow.
I was literally just gonna ask how did the pay work between you four and John Candy?
Yeah, well, John Candy obviously was like he's gets a lot, but John Candy, I think he was supposed to get $1 million. He was at the time was getting $1 million a picture, and they wanted Kurt Russell, not John Candy. John Candy petitioned. It's one of the only movies he's petitioned to be in. He sort of kept calling them. I want to be in this movie. I'm from Canada. I know what these guys have done. I know that story, and I want to be part of this. And so he took a pay cut, and he even made fun of he sort of took us into the suite he was staying at. He said he made sure it was just the actors, and he said, because they're laughing at me, they think, oh, we got him for so cheap, and this movie's kind of a joke. But he goes, they have no idea what's about to happen. That's what he said. He goes, this movie is going to surprise all of them, because he goes, I was there. He goes, they don't understand the heart of this movie, so. That's why he was willing to take a pay cut. And he goes, I'm just here to get this movie made because for them to take it more seriously, because it's a great story and it's going to impact a lot of people. So he sort of had the foresight.
Wow, that's amazing. That's actually like really heartwarming now. I think I might cry.
You wouldn't, but I will. So that makes me love the movie even more.
I think the same for me as well. It's so sort of like heartwarming and touching, and like a great story. And the fact that a massive actor like him, massive comic actor as well, can turn around and say, this story is going to be needs to be seen and needs to be heard, and needs to be distributed around the world for people to see and watch and kind of understand what the real bobsled team went through, and what a great touch.
Well, to add onto the back of that, of it being distributed worldwide, I'll come to you again first, Dom. Dom, can you guess what Cool Runnings grossed worldwide?
Okay. So we say
remember our parameters. So Fight Club made 100 million. Saving Private Ryan was like 450 million. I think, and Celtic Pride was 10.
I'm going to go for a similar ballpark of Fight Club. Let's say 100 million. I think it's still a big film. I think it's probably still making money somewhere. So,
what do you think, Rawle, or do you know?
So this is worldwide box office, right? Not just
worldwide. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, I'm gonna go with that too. I'm gonna say, because I think at the time I predicted 100 million, and they. During an interview, and they sort of looked at me like, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
Well, I'm happy to say, gentlemen, if I may, it was $154.9 million.
Wow. Okay.
That's good going.
Oh, right, because that's U.S. and world. Yes, okay. U.S. and world, yes. I added just overseas because I'm looking at it from a different point of view. I didn't do U.S. prices. Because U.S. was like 70, right? And then overseas was 98 or something.
That's it. You got it. That's a massive return in investment. If we're talking from 13, 14 million to over 150, you made a lot of guys at Disney a lot of money.
Yeah, considering only John Candy and the producer believed in the movie.
This is a question that I've always wanted to ask an actor from a film that was 20 plus years and stuff like that. Do you get rights? Do you get any rights to it, or any sort of royalties?
It's residuals is what they call it, and yes, you do get some. Well, to be honest with you, I've made more money in residuals than I've made shooting that movie, because what happened with Cool Runnings is that they didn't really initially. So it making that much money was sort of miraculous, because they didn't promote it a lot, because they didn't expect it to do that.
Yeah.
But where it took off is on video, because when we were all kids, we were watching a lot of. So the video royalties, the video sort of performance outweighed a lot of movies. Even now in COVID-19, it's the third most streamed family movie.
Wow.
So it's it sort of outperformed retroactively.
So it's the gift that keeps on giving in some ways.
Yeah. So I'm not buying a house with it, but I mean, it's like every now and then I'll see like $1,000. I'm like, oh, that's nice. And this is, this is like over 20 years now, so it's kind of like that doesn't normally happen.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to say I today I contributed to the fund.
Thank you. You're paying me for this podcast.
So the music was scored by Hans Zimmer, which is crazy. Like he has had an amazing legacy and has scored so many classic films. He's done lots of the Christopher Nolan movies, like Inception, the Batman movies, things like that, and then also done a lot of these Disney movies as well. That's were you aware that he was already a big deal at that point? Like, was that something that
Yes.
was in your atmosphere?
Yeah, I was actually kind of surprised he was attached, to be honest, because he was kind of as far as a musical score guy, he was sort of at the peak of rising, and very busy, and also I think he was friends with the producer of the movie, so she sort of pulled a favor. I mean, a lot of people at the time were thinking this was sort of a gimmick. What? Jamaican bobsledders? Kurt Russell scoffed at it, turned it down. He was like, I don't think so.
Well, for that reason, we will never ever cover a Kurt Russell film on this podcast.
No, I mean, I think it was hard to see the future. A lot of people, bottled water people scoffed at.
Yeah.
As you've already touched on, so it was filmed in Jamaica and in Calgary in Canada. I read online that you guys filmed the stuff in Canada first and then filmed the stuff in Jamaica second to make the most of the weather. Is that right?
Yes, they wanted to capitalize on winter, in the peak of winter in Canada.
Nice.
Much to my testicles' dismay.
Well, we'll come on to that. I mean, the weather, not your testicles, but... So the main cast is we have Leon, who's Leon Robinson, but he's just credited as one name, Leon, which is cool.
Is that because he was in a Madonna video? So she's only got one name.
I think he stole that idea from Madonna. I really do.
Was he on set? Was you just have to call him Leon? Like, was this was a thing, or did this happen sort of in post production before the movie was released?
No, he prior to that movie decided he was going to go by just one name, because I think he liked the idea of being able to be recognized by just one name, like Frank or whatever, or whoever. And so but his thing on the set was he wanted us to call him by his character's name. So Darius Bannock, he didn't want us to call him Leon. So even off camera, if you're like, hey, Darius Bannock, can you pass me those shoes? Like he wanted you to, just say his character's name.
Wow.
And we promptly made fun of him from that point on.
Very, very method.
Yeah. A method bobsledder.
Yeah.
So Leon, or Darius, was in Above the Rim, he was in Oz, he was in Ali, and of course, how could we forget, Get Rich or Die Trying. Shout out to 50.
Oh, yeah.
I've heard 50 is a big listener of this podcast, so I just wanted to acknowledge him.
I mean, we say...
Okay.
But that your diction is perfect, yeah?
We're lucky to have 50 people listen to this podcast.
Right. That's all about to change.
Well, after today's one, it definitely is, yeah.
You're blowing up, man. That was pre-COVID. 19.
That's it. This is the one positive thing that's going to come out of this COVID-19.
People got nowhere to go. They have to listen to us.
You probably could get him to do your podcast now, Fiddy.
Wow, he is an avid listener, so he's 50. If you're listening, of course you are. Reach out on the website, themighty90s.com. We'll be happy to talk to you for a bit if we have a bit of time. Okay, but don't hassle us. Of course, we have Doug E. Doug as Sanka Coffee, which I read online is actually a play on words because there's a coffee brand in the Caribbean. Were you aware of this? I didn't.
Yes, that was the Sanka Coffee. Yeah. Well, I was probably the only one that was aware of it because I'm actually from the Caribbean.
Yeah.
The West Indies, as you guys call it.
The West Indies, yeah.
And I thought, and I didn't understand. I thought, oh, that's blatant product placement. That I didn't really get that they had no idea. They were just doing a play on words. And but I was like, but you should get money for this.
Reach out to the Sanka Coffee people.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Dougie Doug was also in Eight-Legged Freaks. He did some voice work in Shark Tale, which is cool. Apologies if I'm pronouncing this wrong, but Malik Yoba as Yul Brenner. Did I say that right?
Malik Yoba, yeah.
Oh, Malik Yoba. Apologies. He's gone on. He was in Copland with Sylvester Stallone. He's in the TV show Empire, Arrested Development, and a show that I enjoy watching with my wife, The Good Wife. He was in that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
This might sound really stupid, but I didn't get the joke with the Yul Brenner, because obviously Yul Brenner was the actor that was in The King and I hundreds of years ago, and I didn't quite get the joke there. If that was an intentional or what? No,
I think they accidentally sort of tapped in on something, because a lot of times in the Caribbean, because we grew up watching all these old Hollywood movies, people will name themselves after actual movie stars. Like there's a lot of reggae singers who will name themselves after, like, like there's a lot of Orny Murphy, like Western Clint Eastwood. There's a reggae singer was called Clint Eastwood, and
okay.
They just sort of mimic the movies that they saw in Hollywood.
That's fair enough. That explains it. So the closest thing that we have over here in the UK is that Britain's longest serving prisoner calls himself Charles Bronson.
Yeah, exactly. And I didn't realize that, but that's a good example.
Well, Dom, you're a step ahead of me, because I didn't get that joke at all, and I didn't even know that there was someone, a king, someone from The King and I, way above my head.
Yeah, do you remember the musical The King and I? Or it's always played on a Sunday, like randomly on a bank holiday, or that sort of thing. And Yul Brenner was, I believe, a Russian American actor who was, from. Well, I think he was born in 1920 or something like that. So he long. He was
in
a
lot of the black and white movies from back in the day.
Yeah,
and he was pretty famous. He was in the original Westworld.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
very cool. Nice. Learn something every episode of this podcast. And then, of course, we have the main man, Rawle D Lewis, as Junior Bevel, who obviously we're, I'm still overwhelmed that we're talking to you. So. And then we have John Candy, who was in Uncle Buck, Planes, Trains and Automobiles. He had a bit in Home Alone, and, just general sort of legend.
Blues Brothers, Stripes.
Yeah.
Comedy legend.
Absolutely.
And this was his last movie that was released while he was still with us, which is
correct.
Obviously really sad, but nice to know, some of the things that you've said earlier in the podcast, that it's a movie that he really believed in and really enjoyed. And like we said, that sort of shows in the finished product. So we'll take some positivity out of that. I do have to add that the soundtrack to Cool Runnings, dare I say, is bumping. Am I right?
Yeah. I like that you're saying that.
Well, you'll find out as we go through, but I have a very talented singing voice, and I like to sing. I like to sing the songs as we go through.
Yeah.
So, just getting you ready.
Are you gonna do? I Can See Clearly now.
Oh, that's the final credits, baby.
Are you gonna do it? Are you doing
Which is your favorite? Which is your favorite song on the soundtrack?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked. I think my favorite probably is "Rise Above It." Everybody, rise above it. Come on, bro. Dom. Rise.
Oh wow.
That's pretty funny.
Later on, when I go to bed, I'm going to have a sudden flashback of me singing that to you, Rawle, and I'm going to feel very embarrassed. Dom, you not so much. That's just a regular Tuesday.
This is weekly for me.
Oh, man. That's funny.
We play another game where we have to guess the IMDb score of the movie. So I'll come to you first, Dom. What do you guess Cool Runnings gets on IMDb?
Well, I know what I'll give it, but I'll tell you that later. But what I think IMDb would give it would be 7.
7, okay. And what do you know, Rawle, or what do you think?
No, I don't.
Have a guess.
Contrary to popular belief, I don't check the movie all the
Well, how am I doing this week?
I would go 7.5.
Oof. So, Dom, you were actually bang on correct. It gets a 7.0 straight up. Which is actually really good for IMDb.
Yeah, they're pretty staunch.
Yeah, for sure. But now we go over to Rotten Tomatoes. So Rotten Tomatoes gives a percentage out of 100. So Dom, what percentage do you think Cool Runnings gets?
IMDb is a little bit easier to predict, but Rotten Tomatoes are so up and down. So Mighty Ducks was really quite low, wasn't it? Like 50%.
I think Mighty Ducks was like 9%.
Oh, was it? Oh, it was lower than that. Oh, God. Okay.
Did you say 90?
No, 9.
9, wow.
Well, I think Saving Private Ryan was like 93% or something as like a measuring bar.
I'm going to say 65%.
Oof. What do you think, Rawle?
They're kind of... I'm going to go 52.
Well, I'm happy to say it was 76%.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
that's good.
Good.
That's a good rating for Rotten Tomatoes.
I underestimated them.
You shouldn't underestimate yourself is the most important message here today. So, trivia. So, contrary to the story, in the...
I'm sorry, I'm writing that down, what you said. I'm just taking...
Thank you.
Taking notes.
I was trying to use that as a segue while I was putting up my Word document for my trivia. So I was trying for it to be smooth. But so I don't know if you was aware of this, but contrary to the storyline, the Jamaican bobsled team in real life were actually met with open arms by international bobsledding teams, and one of the other teams even went as far as to lend the Jamaican team one of their backup sleds so they could qualify. Were you aware that, obviously it was deviating from the truth a little bit?
I know it was an amalgamation of different stories, but they were greatly accepted because I was in Calgary 4 years later or 5 years later when we shot that movie. It was 5 years from the time when they were there, and I saw all the pictures in restaurants and a lot of the women who were like, "Are the guys here? Are they here?" And then I was like, "No, but we're the actors." Like, oh.
So in a few years we'll be more famous than those athletes, so don't worry.
Yeah. I know. And there was one, I just remember specifically one lady holding a a 5-year-old kid, like. And then I'm asking for one of the bobsledders. Have you seen him? I was like, I don't even want to get into this because this looks. I go, no, I haven't seen them.
Somebody's missing some child support payments.
Yeah.
I guess that's evidence to definitely say that the bobsled team were accepted there in Canada.
So yeah, at least from that woman. But no, I think. But I think there for every every group of people that were accepted him, there were a few naysayers. I remember hearing stories about that, and I think the movie just sort of tried to highlight a little bit of everything. But at the same token, they wanted to have a Hollywood narrative, you know.
Yeah, of course, and it's important to highlight the negativity there to try and have it as a teaching point, I guess. And it is a good message to.
No, there was a lot of lessons. It was deliberate. They put a lot of sort of teachable moments in there, especially like my character and a lot of some of the themes in John Candy. And if you're not enough with it, things about going after just only wanting to win and by any means necessary trying to win. There's a lot of little nuggets in there.
There's so much good stuff in there that I can't wait to cover because there's some brilliant moments in there. So at the time when this was released, it was the highest grossing live action film released under the banner of Walt Disney Pictures.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Take that one. Actual footage from the ABC network who was covering the 1988 Winter Olympics was actually used within the movie, which I never knew that until more recently, which makes that scene even more sort of heartbreaking because to have actual footage in there. I mean,
the crash, right?
Yeah, did they show you the crash before, the actual crash before filming it to sort of give you an idea of it? How did you find all of that?
No, I didn't see that until the movie. I saw the finished product. When I saw the actual movie, I go, "Oh wow, when did these stuntmen really earn their keep?"
Yeah. Did you know that, Dom, that it was the actual footage?
Well, there was one moment watching it where I thought, because someone's head was trapped between ice and bobsled,
right.
And I thought, that looks a bit more genuine than the rest of the action as they come zooming down. I wasn't really sure. I didn't know it was actual. I thought possibly stuntmen.
No, I knew there was. You could see the quality of, because I'm in the film, I could see the different quality of footage. I could kind of tell which ones were
which one's you or not.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't in any of it. That was a stunt guy. I was having a bagel, but crabs there. Actually, I was very into the quiche at that time. The guy made the best quiche. Anyway, but
were you having that quiche hot or cold?
Oh, hot. Is that but you don't do that here or there or what?
I try not to do quiche at all. The egg kind of puts me off, but it's my wife enjoys quiche, and she has it cold, and that's not for me. Dom, how do you feel about quiche?
I will have it either way, hot or cold. Happy with both.
And Rawle, you say you have it hot. Would you consider a cold quiche?
Yeah, I like quiche. I didn't even know anything about quiche until on the set of Cool Runnings. That's why I developed my quiche addiction.
So Cool Runnings is out there teaching lessons left, right, and center.
I mean, prior to that, I was like a no-name actor, so I didn't know what quiche was.
When was the last time you had quiche? How is it still involved in your life? These are the questions you'll only get asked here on this podcast.
Yeah, I had a quiche prior to this whole COVID-19 thing. I had a quiche, and there's a coffee shop down the street from me where they have really good quiche, and I can't wait to normalize my life again and get back to that.
Nice.
So this was really interesting.
This sounds a little pompous, but
no, you're good. We're the king of pompousness over here, so don't
That's
worry
true.
about that.
so yeah, you would know.
Yeah,
You're like, that's nothing compared to.
yeah. I'm so pompous, I won't even look at quiche. Like, I'm not pompous at all. I'm actually quite street, but whatever. So, because you know what you need to do, rise above it. Everyone, come on. Sorry. Okay. Very excited. So this was crazy. The original cast that Disney envisioned apparently for the film was Denzel Washington as Doris, Eddie Murphy as Sanka, Wesley Snipes as Yule, and then Marlon Wayans as Junior. Was there any truth to that, or I mean, that's a very different movie if it was those guys.
Yeah, that's an extremely different movie. Now you would definitely know these people weren't Jamaican. You would.
Yeah.
You know what? I actually believe that was their wish list, but I don't think any of these guys were, especially Denzel, were interested in the movie. I think the only person that I heard, because remember, I was the reader, I got hired on to help cast the movie. Mm-hmm. And the only person that I had heard that was initially involved was Wesley Snipes.
Okay.
None of those other people no one mentioned anything. You know, I think what happens is Disney puts out a list. It's like, see if you can get Denzel to do this, and he's like, no. I'm gonna do this. I think he was doing the Pelican Brief or something like that at the time, or whatever, with Julia Roberts. So I don't think he was going to do Cool Runnings.
Well, I think it works much better this way. Anyway, for like the reasons that you said, I think it would be a lot more difficult to separate it'd be harder to not separate the actor from the character. Yeah. Where this way, it's like myself, I didn't know that none of the principal cast weren't Jamaican, except for John Candy. I had an inkling about that, but until recently. So, okay, I've just got a few more here, and then we will dive on in. This one is a good one because Dom is a Star Wars fan. He was actually connected to the prequels. We found out on our last episode.
Nice.
You didn't have to bring that up.
I did. So 42 minutes into this film, there is the sound of a TIE fighter that can be heard as the Swiss sled goes down the track.
Oh, wow. That is quite interesting.
Really?
And maybe that's a precursor that Disney would one day eventually own Star Wars. I don't know.
Huh.
Now I said it out loud, I'm thinking, I read this online. Maybe I should have really checked that.
Now, what section was that?
It says it's 42 minutes into the film. Mm-hmm. When I edit this, I will put in the sound that it's saying, and then, our listeners can, will know.
Determine for themselves.
Did you know that Cool Runnings in Norway is known as cold buttocks?
Wow.
Wow. It's also known by us on the set, too.
Hip-hop legend Tupac Shakur auditioned for a role in this movie. Did you know that, or is there any truth to that?
I did hear about that because they actually auditioned all around, apparently in London, New York, LA, and Miami.
So just anywhere but Jamaica.
Yeah. Well, not for the leads. And in Jamaica, a lot of those characters were actually Jamaican in there, which is really funny because people make fun of the accent, but they actually sometimes criticize people who are actually Jamaican. so it's hard to take the criticism seriously.
Right.
The guy who played your dad, he was so fake, and like, he's like a renowned Jamaican poet.
Well, so like I said earlier, so my wife's family heritage is partly from Jamaica and partly from St. Vincent, and she actually she got annoyed at me once when we were in Jamaica, and I brought this film up to the bartender at the bar we were sat at, and I was just saying like, "Hey, do you like Cool Runnings?" And she got annoyed at me, but she was saying she has mixed feelings about the film in that she at times worries that it can make Jamaica be like the butt of the joke, where I don't think that. I think that it sort of puts a sort of a positive effect on it and makes you sort of want to go to Jamaica and be involved in the culture, etc. I mean, is that stuff that you've sort of heard before, or how do you feel about that?
Absolutely. I think the tourist board definitely took a hold of it. I mean, there's everything. There's Jamaica. There's a Cool Runnings restaurant and Cool Runnings tour, and they're taking people out to places. They're like, and here's a section where they filmed this part, and we're like, no, we didn't film over there, you know. But whatever works. I think it is positive. I think in today's climate, we probably wouldn't have. It would have been more. We would have been able to do more authentic accents. They wouldn't have been afraid of the accents. You know, and I think that nowadays people want everyone they want one movie when there's not a lot of movies about your culture. I think that they want this one movie to be the staple of like righting all the wrongs of race and, you know, inadequacies, and I think one movie can't do that. But and now in comparison to the other movies that were out about Jamaica, like shot the gangster stuff and people getting shot, I think Cool Runnings kind of now is looking like a shining star in compared to that.
Completely. I think you're right. And actually, I think when we're done with this podcast, I'm going to divorce her. What a fool. Moving on.
I'll tell her you said that.
Yeah, you might not want to. You might want to edit that part out.
Yeah. Can I just add that I think the film does give that sense of that national pride and that you know spirit to continue and carry on. So I think it's more of a film to be proud of. You know, not that I'm from Jamaica or anything like that, but I'd like to think that they see it as a point of pride and telling a story of, you know, something that did happen, and just a nice story.
I also feel like the film is not just a Jamaican film. It's like it's done so much to give a nod to the underdog that there's French breakdancing groups that relate to this movie, or Nigerian ski team, or whoever, you know what I mean? Everyone's sort of like, it's sort of giving this message that, you know what? Yeah, you can do it. You know, even though it's kind of like definitely a follow your dreams kind of. It was set in the backdrop of Jamaica, and they used the sort of the tenacity and the strength of the actual real Jamaican bobsled team was used to tell this universal story.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't give up.
Yeah, go for it.
So I have two more little factoids. So. Lewis Hamilton, who's a Formula One driver.
Love that guy.
I don't know. Oh, yeah, okay. I was going to say, I don't know. Is Formula One popular in the US?
Not like we have NASCAR, but it's mostly a lot of rednecks watching that.
Right.
Not that I have anything against rednecks. If this is your fan base.
Our fan base is 50 Cent, and that's about it. So.
No, he's cool. Everybody's aware of him. I mean, a lot of people are aware. He's sort of made it hip in America to be in the Formula One.
Right, and he dated Nicole Scherzinger as well, didn't he? So, but it's his favorite movie is Cool Runnings.
Oh, nice.
And then finally,
and Ed Sheeran too, right?
Oh, it's Ed Sheeran's as well.
He mentioned that was one of his favorite movies.
Oh, that makes sense. If he went to Jamaica, he would just burn up. Just
Melt.
This was an interesting one and made me think. So maybe you have an answer for this, or maybe this was spoken about on the set. But it is never explained how Sanka, when doing the push start for the bobsled, is able to keep the pace with 3 trained Olympic level sprinters.
Oh, you mean when he's the pushcart driver?
Well, no. So when you're actually doing the bobsledding, so Junior, Yule and Derice are all like Olympic runners.
Oh, right.
So they, but he obviously is not. So it's like, how is he able to run as fast as them to do the push start?
Well, he's not, but we're sort of the, you know, he's sort of like we're sort of carrying him actually.
Yeah, he just lifts his legs and just holds on to the bobsled.
Yeah. He's that's a really good point though. But I mean, if you had a slower person, it's not that he's going to be dragging along. It wouldn't help push it as fast as us. And it's only like a 50. I forgot what it is. 50 meters. That's not even 50. Like it's only like about 20 meters or something. 30 meters. I think he can hang on for that long. And he is Jamaican. I mean, they're all pretty fast.
Yeah, exactly. The 100 meters. You know, they own that basically, don't they?
Yeah.
Okay, so we are now going to get into cool runnings. We get this very classic opening, the do da 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 do da da. Disney. Did you get that from that noise?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, good. We get the very cool sort of vibrant font. We get Leon as one name, and then we see Derice sort of doing his running and is going through like a makeshift running track. And there's like kids with toilet paper at the end as he goes through. It's got a very cool sort of music and sort of see him running around Jamaica. I'm assuming when he's filming this was like a nice day off for you, was it? Like you didn't have to be on set?
That is correct. I was probably at the beach or something. But although I wasn't allowed to tan because you can look darker than you were in Canada.
Right. I mean, do you know how long was the shoot roughly? Like, I'm assuming you weren't shooting in Jamaica as long as you were in Canada.
That's a good point. We were in Canada longer, so we were in Canada we shot there first. The movie, we sort of did the movie in reverse, and that was, I remember Jamaica being too short and Canada being a lot longer. So we're like six. I think it was not that long, like 9 weeks or something. 8 weeks.
In the movie, it's it's like an hour and a half film, and it's about half an hour in is when we sort of leave Jamaica. So it's kind of perfect in like the 3-act structure that we have, like the first act in Jamaica and then the second and third act in Canada. Mm-hmm. It kind of splits out pretty perfectly.
Yeah.
And it comes up that we're set in Jamaica in 1987 in November, which is a brilliant year because it was the year that Dominic and I were birthed from our mother's wombs. Everyone was having a good time in 1987.
Wait, you both were?
We're both born in 87, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Dom is exactly 14 days older than me. Yeah, he came out of his mum's womb 14 days prior to me. Then...
Why do you have to say it like that? Can't you say Dom was 14 days before?
We know what the birth process is, but I guess you're being very specific coming out of the womb as opposed to a C-section or something, right?
Exactly. And what was very different about when I came out of my mother's womb is like I came out head first and just suddenly just went, rise above it. Everyone, come on.
He's popped out and rise above it.
It was 1987. I was like, hey guys, be November in a few months. Let's go to the Pushcart Derby, which was happening in November of 1987, and You see how I segued there?
Yeah.
You don't sound that impressed, Rawle.
Oh, sorry. Yay!
Thank you. So, Sanka has his pushcart derby, or his pushcart cart, which is nicknamed the Rasta Rocket, and he's drinking a ting, and then he's sort of playing and singing with the kids. Dries comes through, he's talking to Sanka, and the kids are saying to Dries, "Oh, you're even faster than your father was." So sort of putting in some of this exposition of...
How do they know?
Well, legend on the island.
But they're kids.
That's true. No internet. Their dads must have been telling them, I reckon, the night before.
And it just
maybe.
occurred to me that that's why the French people were calling me Rasta Rocket. They're referring to the movie. That's part of the movie.
That's it. There you go.
They're not racist.
Take it all back.
Dom, what did you think about the opening Pushcart Derby?
It's actually really good. It's quite entertaining, isn't it? Did you notice the name of the pushcart next to the Rasta Rocket?
I did not. What was that?
It's called What Dat. WATDAT. What Dat. Which I thought was really good. I like that. And then obviously Sanka absolutely smashing it down the hill with the little kid attached to the front of his little car as well.
Which seems very dangerous in retrospect, doesn't it?
The kid makes it out okay, so it's all right.
We get introduced to the Sanka's lucky egg as well, which I read Dougie Doug says that he still has that egg as it was like a rubber prop. Did you keep any of your props, Rawle? Like any of the clothing or any things that you have like around the house?
No, and I feel like an idiot because everybody else stole stuff.
You could have got away with it.
It was my first movie. I didn't know that you could do that.
You're just up there taking quiches, but not taking any props.
No, I would have loved to have the shoes, like the bobsled shoes.
Yeah, that would be cool. They probably still exist somewhere, just in a box at Disney somewhere.
Yeah, in some wardrobe, like that Raiders of the Lost Ark when they put away the Ark.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and it's at the end, and it's like a warehouse of just things.
Yeah, exactly. And there's just on the 300th shelf at the top, there is, John Candy's Rasta hat, your bobsled shoes.
There's a lot of Adidas. There's a lot of Adidas in this film. So
yes,
that stuff must be somewhere or like buyable.
Yeah, I would like to. Doug did keep his egg though. I remember him telling me that. He's like, "Oh, I still have that egg." I was like, "You could do that?"
Well, this is where we get introduced to the egg. We also get introduced to the sort of the push start of feel the rhythm, feel the rhyme, give it up, it's pushcart time. And so Sanka wins but crashes. We also get the first iteration of Sanka, you're dead? Yeah, man. And sort of we get introduced to Dries' girlfriend or wife who's, watching the Pushcart Derby together. Dries goes out on another run and his girlfriend or his partner says, "You have papers to grade." So this was the first time I realised that Dries' backstory must have been that he was also like a teacher.
Yeah. I forgot about that too.
So now that I was also a teacher, basically I was Dries. I was in Cool Runnings.
That's why you related. But you like Sanka back then, right?
I probably transitioned from Sanka into Dries. Yeah. So crazy. I was in Cool Runnings. You were in Cool Runnings. This is good times. Next time you get one of them royalty checks, okay, can you pass some over? Because I was there too, man, okay?
I mean, it's in dollars. It's not going to be much for you.
That's fine. So I can buy a couple quiches, I'm cool. But so Derice is saying he can't believe the trials are finally here. And then when he says about he doesn't care how much other people want it, I want it more. I don't care how fast they run. I'm going to run faster. Brilliant little moments. And Leon does a great performance. But guess what? We get to the trials, 100-meter dash. Lots of Adidas, as Dom said. Yul Brynner comes in. He's very tense. The 4 finishers will go to the Summer Olympics in South Korea. Then we're introduced to Junior Bevel. Yay!
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And
yeah, man, respect.
Yeah. You and Junior introduces himself to Derice, and you're sort of playing the character very sort of sweet. You knew who Derice was sort of beforehand. Oh, I hope I make the team. It'd be a real honour to run with you. This sort of makes the whole audience sort of gravitate to being on your side and being with you and with your plight. And like
before I screw it all up.
Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. So you hope you can make the team. You wish him luck. You wish Yul Brynner luck. He doesn't want your luck. But then we're running. It's a great race. You're a little bit shorter than the other guys, so your legs are probably a bit smaller. But you're up there with them. You're doing well. But then what happens? You trip. You trip Derice. You trip Yul, and then we watch 3 people run off into the distance. Now I say 3 because it said the top 4 can go. So you could have got up and you could have just run on and you would have still made it there.
Yeah, well, at least one of those guys could have.
Was that a hard thing to film? Like, do you remember filming the running race and like the falling over? Was actually you that fell over, or was that stunt doubles, or how did that all work?
Both. I fell out. There's one where I fell on a mat, and then there's one where the stunt guy falls on the floor. And I was having a quiche, but I actually was faster than those guys, and it was funny because I'm supposed to be struggling to keep up with them, but I find myself having to slow down so that they could run alongside me. Now they're going to tell a different story, but that's what I remember.
Well, we believe you, not them. So
you've got that natural Caribbean speed, and they've got that New York sluggishness.
Yeah, that's what it was. Because Trinidad's always, if you watch the Olympics, there's always like someone coming in 4th from Trinidad. Like we're always just right there, not quite always the bridesmaid, never the bride.
Actually, completely off topic, or slightly off topic. Me and Simon both support the same football team. We support a team called West Ham United, a soccer team.
Mm-hmm.
And we used to have a goalkeeper years ago called Shaka Hislop. Are you familiar?
No. He's from Trinidad?
He's from Trinidad, yeah. He used to play for Trinidad and Tobago in like the World Cup and stuff like that, but he was our goalkeeper for a long time. Great guy.
Legend.
There's a lot of people from Trinidad in London. I learned the hard way. Well, because not running into a lot of people from Trinidad, I got all excited. It was a guy at the Shepherd's Bush bus station, and I said, "Oh," I heard his accent. I go, "Oh, you're from Trinidad? I'm from Trinidad." He goes, "So?" I think what it was like whatever it was to get on the train. It's like £5, please. And I was like, "Oh, your accent, you're from Trinidad." He goes, "So? A lot of people here from Trinidad. £5." I was like, it's very rude. It was like big deal, and then as I walked around, I would go, "Oh yeah, I guess there's a lot of Caribbean people."
They've taken on the London spirit.
Yeah, not a big deal.
Well, the whole race, I think it was filmed really well. The music was really good, and you sort of feel the pain on all of the 3, runners' face of their dreams are sort of running off into the distance. So I thought it was filmed really well.
It's very well said. Our dreams running off into the distance. I like that.
Thank you, man.
You could tell you're a teacher, but go ahead.
Oh, thank you. Well, it's, like you, I will just cut little bits out of this podcast like that and just have it on loop. And anyone that comes into my house, and once I divorce my wife, of course, I'll be on the prowl. So I'll be like, ladies, come listen to this. You remember Junior Bevel? Yeah, Rawle D. That's my man. Firstly, we're friends now. Listen to what he said about me.
Whatever it takes to get you some, man.
If only the 9-year-old version of me could imagine having this conversation with you. Dreams. So Doris is then begging like the organizer or like the commissioner to redo the race. It wasn't fair. He's saying, well, you have another chance in 4 years. And then Doris sees the picture of his dad with the man, Irvin Blitzer. And we find out that Irvin is a bookie from a pool hall here on the island. So, and he tried to get Doris's dad to switch sports from being a sprinter to doing bobsledding. And Doris takes the picture. One more thing, what's a bobsled? So, a quick question. Before you were propositioned with this movie, were you aware of what bobsledding was? 'Cause I know I certainly wasn't.
Yes. But that's because. But in the Caribbean, you did. When I came to America, I learned what it was because I actually probably saw that Winter Olympics. So I was not only aware of bobsled, but I sort of vaguely heard about the Jamaican bobsled team.
Right. Okay. Cool.
Because I was a kid hearing about that, but it was like in the background, like, that's interesting.
Very cool. What about you, Dom? Did you know anything about bobsledding before Cool Runnings, or was Cool Runnings your introduction into that sport?
I'm pretty sure Cool Runnings was my introduction to it. And then having watched Olympics and Winter Olympics, like post that, when I got a little bit older, I then realised, this is the sport that's in Cool Runnings. Kind of learned it that way round rather than the other way.
Nice.
So reverse engineered. So
yeah, basically.
So we move through to Doris is talking to Sanka about what bobsledding is. Sanka's not really interested. It's too much ice. He's very concerned about the cold. And then Doris kind of gets Sanka into it by saying they'll put your picture on a Wheaties box. And that kind of gets him in. But he says he wants to be on the Wheaties box together. But first he says, makes him sort of repeat a statement saying that they've gone through a whole heap together. And we move through to meeting John Candy. So I'm just going to skip through a lot of this because we want to get to talking about you, Rawle. So.
Oh no, I like all of it.
Okay. I'll slow it down. So we meet John Candy.
Let's go back.
He's shouting at the radio because he's betting on horses and he's really wanting Tumbleweed to win. There's a little hidden sort of Easter egg in here that one of the other horses... Did anyone get this? Dom, Rawle?
No.
The horse is called Tumbleweed.
Yeah.
But that's all I got.
So one of the other horses was called Brewster, which is a callback to when John Candy was in Brewster's Millions.
Oh, right.
Oh.
Yeah. As soon as I said that, I was like, was that right? Did I just make that up?
He was in Brewster's Millions.
Yeah, okay, good. Because that's what I was about to suddenly check. No, yeah, then that is true. I'm going to back myself. Yes, it was called Brewster. So...
It's an odd name for a horse, Brewster.
That is.
They usually have like run-on sentences. They usually have some kind of a clever name. But that one's just called Brewster.
Yeah, just it's one name. It's like Leon.
Yeah, it's the Madonna of horses.
This is where we get the Sanka greeting sled god, and Doris and Sanka are basically hassling Irv, and it's sort of friendly to begin with. But then as it goes on, it gets to the point of Irv grabbing Doris by the windpipe, and but he won't leave. And he says, well, snow, you don't have any. The Winter Olympics and blah, blah, blah. Time, you don't have any. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And me, you don't have me. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. How did I do, Rawle?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Even a better accent than us.
I'm thinking it's time for a Cool Runnings reboot, okay? We didn't use Jamaicans the first time, so I'm thinking me and Dom, we're going to slide on in there, okay? Sound good?
It sounds good. I'll be the coach.
Yes. We just need 2 more guys and we're good to go. Should probably try and see if I can offer my wife a part, because she's probably, not best pleased with me now.
No, especially after talk about divorce.
What about Matt Dirty? He might join from the Mighty Ducks.
Yeah.
He's used to ice, to be fair. So.
Oh, nice.
Excellent.
I mean,
done.
You just have to act like you're in the ice. You don't really have to really. Like, we didn't really bobsled.
You're destroying the illusion.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, you're breaking my heart right now.
At first, we didn't really bobsled at first.
Oh, okay. Until you became pros.
Yeah.
Okay.
Irv takes the poster down, and then Doris shows Irv the picture of his dad, Ben Bannock, and this is where Irv starts sort of giving him a bit more time, and he says, your dad, he ran the 100 meters in 10 flat, and Doris says, well, I run it in 9.9. Okay. Self-confidence. Sure. Yeah, okay. Let it breathe, calm down a bit, take a breath. But he says, look, I'm your chance to, do what you said. So they give it a go, and we get to a hall of people, and they're doing the video of what bobsledding is, and we get some great comical moments here. A bobsled is a simple thing, to which someone says...
so's your mom? No, I forgot what it was.
It's close. Dom?
Say it again?
Oh, come on, guys.
I forgot.
A bobsled is a simple thing, and then someone says...
So is something.
So is a toilet.
Oh.
Okay, I'll edit this. I'll make it sound... Someone says...
So is a toilet.
Yeah! We get some great moments here of your bones won't break in a bobsled. No.
They shatter.
Yes.
I remember that.
And then you know why you don't remember some of these bits? Because you're not entering the scene yet. So you're almost here. Everyone leaves. Yul Brynner comes in. And then we get Junior Bevel. Hey!
Hey! Meeting start yet?
Yes! Okay, from now on, we'll just act out the whole film. Let's go. I don't know what any of the other lines are. I'm so disappointed in myself.
And then I think Yul Brynner comes after me, right? He's like, you comes after me.
That's exactly it. And then Sanka tries to sort of come to your defense, and then he says about, I'll kick your butt or something. And he says, well, why don't I draw a line down the center of your head and you'll look like a butt?
Yes.
Something like this.
That was correct.
Okay.
I'm going to beat your butt. And he said, I'll draw a line along the middle of your head so it looks like a butt. That's right.
There we go. Dom, you've got a perfect memory for this stuff. Come on, let me hear some stuff.
I honestly haven't. I've got a good memory, but my memory for lines sometimes isn't that great. That's why I'm not an actor.
So we form a team, and then they start to practice. So we've got Yul is going to be the second middleman. Junior is going to be the first middleman. Sanka the brakeman, and Doris the driver. But Sanka at first is saying he must drive. Irv says that, the driver has to have the responsibility of the whole team. When everyone else is out drinking, he's practicing turns, so on and so forth, which comes to fruition later in the film. So then we decide that, you guys decide that Derice will be the driver. Irv flashes out that he's got 9 world records, 2 gold medals. It's a great speech. And Sanka's saying, well, that's a hell of a place to be coming from. And he says, the back is nice. And then we move to your sort of first sort of big solo scene of Junior practicing telling his dad what he's going to be doing, where you're telling your dog.
Am I talking to the dog?
Yeah.
A man has got to do what a man has got to do.
Yeah, that's a nice house, by the way.
So talk us through. Like, was this? Did they just rent the driveway of a house to film this scene?
No, it's an actual house in Jamaica, and these people are living like a rap video. And they were kind enough to let us use the house, but it was pretty nice.
Yeah, I was literally just gonna say, was it their car as well, or?
No, the car they brought from Miami.
Wow.
Yeah, because they wanted a really kind of a fancy looking car that would be enough to generate that type of money.
And what was that dog like?
Very lackadaisical, very comatose. Dog didn't really do much.
It was basically droopy.
Yeah, I felt like they drugged the dog. I don't know.
Oh no.
I didn't actually see that, but I was like, this dog is like barely even moving. And I asked how it was, to the point where I asked, wait, how old is this dog? Is it on its way out? But no, it was just like a sleepy dog. It was pretty young.
This is a great scene, and you have your dad in the movie saying he's got you a job with Webster, and Cohen.
Yeah, that was my stupid joke in there. Oh, Webster, and Cohen. like what is that? Like, oh, they finally joined up. I like that.
I always remember this scene, and I always liked it from a kid, from early on. Like, it's very easy to digest, even if you're like a little kid watching this. That
the dog scene.
Yeah, that you're being sort of pushed in a direction of things that you don't want to do, where you want to be the character wants to be an athlete, so on and so forth. So I think that scene is really nice, and dare I say, I feel that Junior's struggle throughout the film is actually more to overcome than anybody else's. I mean, everyone has their own thing, right? We've got Derice is trying to sort of step out of his dad's shadow in some way, but also sort of be great. Brenner wants to get off of the island and sort of, achieve and be accomplished. Sanka doesn't really have too much of a character arc, actually.
I never knew what his deal was.
Yeah, that's true.
In the movie, I just think he was just funny.
Just the comic relief. But then I
think he's more the representation of. This is going to sound really silly, but he's more the representation of Jamaica. Where he says,
that's true.
"We're Jamaicans, we're Jamaica," and he says it quite a few times. I think he just wants to be true to who he is.
Yeah. We had to. He help us stay on point.
Yeah,
be who we are.
Keeping everyone grounded.
That's it. The grounder.
And then you've got Junior, which is probably going through the most difficult struggle, I'd say, of trying to be his own man, and sort of not being dictated to by his father, but and sort of sticking up for himself. And there's sort of sweet moments where you can see that it's almost he's been a bit sheltered. So like later on in the film when Sanka and Rawle are sort of, we would call it here, bantering each other about the comic books and stuff like that, and he's sort of Junior sort of laughing in the background. That's like he's never really seen this sort of stuff. Like, was that an on purpose character choice that you made
to hover in the background?
Well, to sort of be like looking at their sort of antics as like something that you wouldn't have experienced because you had sort of like sheltered from
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, it was sort of in the script, but I sort of pumped up the shelteredness a little more because I was drawing from my real life. That I had a different, I felt like you feel like an outsider in a way when you're foreign,
Well, I think you played it really well and had a real, like sweetness to it. And watching it now, and throughout my adult life, watching Cool Runnings, you are the character. Sorry, your character is the character that I feel the most sort of affinity towards, and is the most relatable, I would say, to me anyway. What about you, Dom?
Yeah, definitely. I think your character has probably the most challenge because you got a difficult parent that has basically laid out your life for you and what direction you're going to go in, and it's not the path you want to follow. And I think sometimes we all get a little bit like that, don't we? Where your parents always want what's best for you, but they always have a vision for you that isn't your vision, and that's exactly what's happened to your character. And you managed
expectations.
Yeah, absolutely. And you managed to break that and show him that actually what you want to do and what you can do is going to make them just as proud.
And it's also like a coming of age. Like I was moving into where I was making my own decisions and becoming a man. And there's also trying to please your parents and also live your life's purpose at the same time. So there's a lot of struggle in there. They specifically said that to me. He goes, your character, you have a lot of you're sort of carrying the dramatic arc of this movie, so no pressure. I was like, thanks. But it didn't bother me because of this character. I was like, oh, I know exactly how I'm gonna play. I was like, I'm from the Caribbean, guys. I came to America, I kind of get this, so I just played. I was kind of going on instincts of how I would portray this, and now that I look back at it, I was like, ooh, that could have fell on his face.
Well, it really didn't, and I think it's a really great performance, and it's one that you should feel really proud of. I mean, I'm sure that you are, but it's a really good performance, man.
Oh, thank you. I don't think about it. but I appreciate that. It's like I don't want to. What do you call it? Sail on my past glories.
Well, why not, man? Get the sails up.
But if
blowing.
This podcast, I will do it. Damn it!
That's what this is all about.
Yeah, I was pretty badass.
You was. And if they had tried to put Marlon Wayans in this, the movie would have flopped and we would have laughed at him because he wouldn't have been able to portray it. So
he would have been a Jafakin.
Exactly that. So we move through to getting the montage of like the push start practice. So it's like on the sort of the bobsled hybrid that's on wheels on like the hill. Do you remember sort of filming this? Was this sort of a mixture of sort of stuntmen and you guys, I imagine?
Oh, when we were in that cart, you mean?
Yes.
That was mostly us. There's one part where it's like the wheels pop off. That wasn't us. But that was oddly us. And I thought, wait, but we have stunt guys, right? Thinking, we're in helmets. No one can tell that we're doing this right now.
There's one. Sorry, there's one moment where I think it's the second time it flips over on its side, where Sanka then runs out of nowhere and hits, like his legs just run into it, and he goes flipping straight over the top of it. Which was that him landing on top of you guys, or was that four stuntmen? I wasn't sure.
I think that was a stuntman.
Right.
What if I hate to ruin it for you guys? But I remember most of it was us. Like I remember, like there's a lot of different takes with falling over the thing and running down a hill and tripping, There's this one part where there's a bunch of pigs got in the way, and it was,
Oh wow.
that was like a full day of a lot of shenanigans.
Well, it must be funny actually thinking about it now, because if you filmed that after you'd filmed all of the stuff in Canada, so you've actually already been doing like bobsledding in an actual bobsled on ice to then go into doing it in like on a pushcart. So it's it's funny to think about that now from our perspective anyway.
Yeah, because we hadn't gone. I mean, because we went to Canada first. We shot the ending of the movie first, and then came around to. But I like that better because we were in better shape by the time we got to Jamaica because we had to work out, train.
Well, speaking of better shape, we get to cold weather endurance. So Sanka is in the ice cream truck, and this is where one of his dreadlocks snaps off.
Yeah, that was a cool trick. I saw how they did that.
How did they do that?
I don't know. I mean, that's for the next podcast.
Okay, so you're coming back. Yes.
A repeat offender.
So you guys crash into a police car, and the police say, you know, who are you? And say, we're the Jamaican bobsled team, and they kind of start laughing. This is actually one of my favourite bits in the movies where Irv comes down, he's going 5'9", 5'9", we did it, 5'9", get out of my way, and sort of pushes through the police officers.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. And that guy the police officer was like 5'6". He was pretty short.
I love John Candy a few times in this movie, just like grabs random people and just sort of shouts something at them and then throws them out of the way, and it's brilliant.
Which I've seen him do in real life. Not in that rough way, but just in like a friendly way, like give a guy a hug, like a stranger.
he just seems like the best guy, and that's so cool that obviously you got to meet him and work with him, etc., and that, like you said earlier, that it sort of holds up to being the legend is true, so to speak.
Yeah.
So Irvin then goes to this sort of commissioner guy again and is asking for what he says as a lousy $20,000 to get to the Olympics, to which I forget what this guy's name. Oh, Mr. Coolidge, I think it is, says, it's bad enough you embarrassed your own country. I'm not going to let you embarrass ours. Ouch. Deep burn.
Born and raised in Jamaica, by the way, Mr. Coolidge. He's lived around the world, but he's gotten criticized for not being Jamaican. He actually was authentically Jamaican, but criticized for not being. Because people don't realize there's different accents. There's a posh accent in Jamaican, and then there's the more street, like you guys are.
Well, yeah, exactly. You know, when I'm not bursting, when I'm not sort of mending bullet wounds, I am. No, that really flopped. I don't know what I was trying to say there. So moving on. Sometimes you just got to know when to give it up, Yeah. I was trying to say nursing a bullet wound, and it sort of came out as birthing, and I just...
Stop being so gangster.
I can't. It's in my blood. So Jeree says that somehow they will get the money. They'll get it another way. We then get Sanka singing at a fountain. Funny about this fountain, actually, and funny from what you were saying earlier, Rawle, about the sort of Jamaica Tourist Board taking this film on. There was a time where my wife and I were on like a sort of trip, a tour trip or whatever, and they literally pointed out this fountain that was the one that Sanka stood in front of. And I really wanted to be like, stop the bus! Like, I need to get out. And they just drove on, like as if it was, not as important as I was saying it was. So Derice is then getting laughed at, asking for money in offices to business people. Yule is arm wrestling. And then Derice and Sanka are at a kissing booth. And there's a very long line for Derice. And I've just got here in my notes that herpes is real.
At least type A, right? There's two. There's the mouth one, and then there's the other one.
Well, there we go. It's a thing.
I've gotten both, but yeah. In Jamaica.
From kissing booths, or was this what you were seeking before you sold the car? This is what you were trying to do to contribute?
I was really bummed I wasn't in those scenes.
Yeah, so they didn't ever shoot like a deleted scene of you selling the car or anything like that.
No, it was meant to be like a surprise.
You just turn up with a bag of money.
Yeah, exactly. There is a scene of me getting mugged, but I fought them off.
Wait, is there really?
No, I'm kidding.
Okay. I'm gullible here, Rawle. I'm gullible and I'm vulnerable and I'm sensitive.
Wasn't Disney enough for that?
Yeah.
That's the Wesley Snipes version.
So we get to the scene of the guys counting the money, and then, like the hero you are, Junior Bevel comes through with the money, sold the car, and then we get this sort of weird line of, I want you to have it, and then everyone sort of stops, and then Doris is like, oh, you mean us? You mean you want us to have it? I was never confused by you first saying, you wanted you to have it. Do you know what I mean? I thought it was quite clear you wanted the team to have it.
Yeah. Do you want another tidbit in there?
Please.
There's a section where we all start singing the song, and I think I'm messing up the song, or the song is not going quite. And it was sort of an improvised moment that they just kept into the movie. But they all start laughing because the song doesn't go right. But that's because I was actually legit messing up the song.
That's great. Well, it's a great scene. So you basically save the day. And Yule says, though, remember, this doesn't mean I like you. And your dad doesn't know. And then we get, like you said, some people know they can't believe. Jamaica, come on, everyone. Jamaica, we got a bobsled team. We got Dom. Rawle, you don't need to do this, okay? Because you've been paid, you've done this, for Disney professionally. But Dom, you've got no excuse. Come on, Jamaica, we got a Dom
bobsled team.
Enough people say, we can't believe. Jamaica, we got a bobsled team. We got the one Doris and the one Junior. Fastest are the fastest are Jamaican sprinter.
Rawle, you have no idea about how you've just made me feel.
That was fantastic.
I can't even believe I remembered it.
I'm very grateful that you did. Thank you. Did it feel good singing it?
Yeah, it's a good song.
It's a great song. It's ringtone worthy. That's what I'll say.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I'll make a ringtone from this recording. So we then fly to Canada, and so like we sort of said earlier, that's like the beginning of the end of the first act. And then we come out, and you and the rest of the team are all very cold. Sanka's putting on all of his clothes, including the bag. We get the great line of, Sanka man, what are you smoking? Nothing, I'm breathing.
That's so true. It's such a Caribbean thing when you go to a cold country and you first start seeing stuff come out of your mouth.
And it says on the sign that it was minus 25, which is crazy. Was it really that cold? I mean, obviously
it was a freezing day. I remember it was very. I don't know if it was minus 20, but it was below zero. I remember us filming, and John Candy kept laughing because he actually had a lot of thermals under there because he was under his clothes, and we were kind of just had the thin Jamaican clothes. Except for me, I was a little more. But he kept saying, the director kept saying, "All right, you guys got to act like you're really cold," and we kept giving him the finger, like, "Yeah, act right." Because as soon as he yelled cut, we'd run right back into that building because it was actually freezing that day.
I bet.
They added more ice and snow, but it was freezing.
We then move on to the Olympic registration, and this is where Irv is going to register, and he's saying to the guy saying what country? He says Jamaica. No, ha ha ha, what country? Jamaica. Okay. And then this is almost like the beginning of seeing people not being as accepting and sort of putting up these barriers and sort of, laughing at it, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
We know that they now need to qualify. The qualifying time is 1 minute and 2 seconds. Irv sees his old Team USA friends. We have the first guy that just completely blanks him. The second guy...
Isn't Larry one of the guys?
Yes, Larry is one of the guys. I think maybe Larry's the second guy that is the guy that then says, Christ, Irv, what did you do to yourself? Which is sort of implying that from the picture earlier... He's gained weight, and maybe sort of punished himself from sort of overeating through the shame of what we'll find out a bit later.
Sort of rude, no?
Super rude. And I kind of always wondered, I'm assuming that John Candy obviously signed off that he was okay with that, because it's also, not nice to the actor.
Well, no one cares about actors. So they pay you for.
And then we get the third guy, which is Roger, who is nice, and Roger is the friend that then meets with Irv in the next scene at the revolving restaurant, and Irv is saying, I need a sled. He's got $5,000 or $4,800, and Roger's saying, is it a joke? And then we get another great sort of line delivery of, 3 of these guys, one of them is you, can do the 110 flat. I don't care who you are. That's lightning. Yeah, but can lightning run on ice? Love it.
Segue. Well, film segue, right? Doesn't it just go to us running on ice?
Oh, it does, my friend. We go straight to the practice rink. Adidas ice shoes everywhere, which we now know is in a box somewhere in a Disney warehouse. Disney, if you're listening, with 50, if you're listening, if you can speak to your people at Disney, if you have any, let them know that Rawle wants his shoes back.
It's probably in the same warehouse as Walt.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I would hope. I mean, the real Walt, right?
Yeah, absolutely. In his chamber.
Some cryogenics.
That's it. You already got there. I was going to say, we've talked about this before. Dom believes that Walt is frozen for, a time where he can be thawed and cured.
He's going to come back out and be really shocked. He's going to not what I mean? You'd be like, why are all these black people, running for president? Women driving and stuff. Sorry. He's a nice guy, I'm sure.
Those residuals still have Disney's name on her.
Just signed by the mouse.
Yeah.
So as you said, we're still at the practice rink, and there's a lot of slipping on the ice, and the ice hockey guys come out, and Yule just floors one of them before then falling over himself. Do you remember filming that stuff? Was that? I assume it is very difficult to run on ice in shoes.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that's another thing that's not much acting needed there, because it actually is hard to. We're on an ice ring, and you have these little spikes that's up by the toes of your, by the balls of your feet. Mm-hmm. That's where the spikes are, and the rest of it's kind of just regular, tractions. And that's very hard. That's very hard if you don't know what you're doing, because you're supposed to grip with the balls of your feet part.
Yeah.
And no one told us that until it was time to shoot.
Was there any of you, in the bobsled team that were particularly better than anybody else at, with the balance and things like that?
I thought Malik was the worst, but so I was really impressed when that guy ran into him and he was able to still stand up. I was like, okay, we're gonna be here filming this all day because he's terrible. But he got it in like 1 or 2 takes. I was like, wow, and then immediately fell after that because I think it was hard.
We'll get on to Malik and yours character a little more as we go forward, but your chemistry with him is brilliant, and is definitely my favourite relationship through the film. Like, was that something that you felt was quite natural between you and him, sort of just as people anyway, or as actors, or because it seems that way anyway?
It was him and I, and also. Well, we did that mirror scene. Well, that's not here yet, so we won't mention that. But we did this. We did our scenes for the screen test together, and it was part of why we got it. It's because of our chemistry together. Well, we also hung out a lot off camera. We had a good chemistry. Also, I would say I had the best chemistry with John Candy, and then him.
Wow. Yeah. It's brilliant, and the proof is in the pudding or in the quiche, because there it is. So yes, Dries then is watching the Swiss qualifying, and he becomes sort of mesmerised by them with the Eins, Zwei, Drei, and all this sort of stuff. And there's just Adidas as far as the eye can see. So as Dom sort of alluded to earlier, I'm assuming that's like heavy product placement.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you watch any like Bob Marley thing too, like it's very big in Jamaica.
Yeah, Adidas is dope. You called it Adidas, right?
Yeah, Adidas too, because I have both worlds swirling around in my head: the Caribbean world and the American world. And
so in the Caribbean, do they call it Adidas rather than Adidas?
Adidas, yeah. It's very British. Yeah. Aluminium.
Wait, what do we call it? Aluminum or aluminium? I don't.
I thought you said aluminium and we say aluminum.
My wife takes the piss out of me all the time for saying things like, we've got a toilet paper brand here, and I call it Andrex, but everyone else calls it Andrex.
I've never heard you say it like that. It's Andrex.
No, Andrex.
Andrex.
No, Rob. Andrex.
Andrex.
Yeah.
That's now a sponsor. You should hit him up.
Oh. Yeah. Good shout.
50 Cent and Andrex. Do you know we call Nike here? We call Nike.
Oh, really?
I don't. It's in the Caribbean. Sorry,
we say Nike.
Nike, yeah. I think that someone at Nike actually came out and someone asked him the question: is it pronounced Nike or Nike? And they said it's Nike.
Yeah, because it's after a Greek god or something.
Oh, cool.
It's actually the pronunciation. So, I mean, we have a lot of British pronunciation for our zero. Do you guys say zero or naught?
I think naught is probably, we say both, but I think zero is seen as like the American way. Is that right, Dom?
It depends, doesn't it? But to be honest, we're a bit weird because if you're doing a phone number, all phone numbers start with a zero, but we all go O. It's not a letter, it's a number, but we all go O. 01727.
Go on, say your full phone number, Dom.
I'm not doing my full phone number, no way.
Yeah, let's hear it.
555.
Yeah, there we go. Say it. I was going to say. So, I love that. Lovely tangent onto Adidas. So, Irv then shows the guys their sled, and it's all sort of falling apart and rusty, but Dries says she's beautiful. So I assume the Hollywood magic is obviously this sled and the actual sled you go into later are two different sleds, right?
You mean when we start riding later? No, the sled was pretty screwed up.
That somewhere must be They must still have that somewhere in Disney. Like, that would be an amazing prop to have somehow
That
stolen.
would be cool for me to keep, like have it in my living room.
Yeah, just watch TV in it.
Yeah, just like sleep in it,
like a relaxer, a lounger.
So, you have your kids have like a car bed. It could be like you get a mattress that fits it. Yeah.
Well, with my large and in charge ladies, that's not gonna fly.
There's so many innuendos you could say about coming back into your bobsled and all kinds of things.
Yeah, well, I heard that there was at one point there was a porno version of this movie, and I think there was a lot of innuendos. Like,
please tell me it's called Rasta Rocket.
No, that should be the name. I haven't seen it actually because I don't want to get better accents than us.
That's so funny. There must be. I'm sure there probably is. There's like those versions of movies, the blue films for all these major sort of big films. So great. That could be our second podcast. We can all watch that and do a podcast episode about it.
The After Hours podcast.
I would. Now that you mentioned, I would like to see that. I wonder, just curious to who's playing my part, and are they anatomically correct?
We'll report back. We'll do some research. So we then get to this scene where all the different countries are sort of cleaning their sleds. And then the Jamaican team arrives and everyone just stops what they're doing. Everyone stares. And then I've just written here in my notes, they're just a staring ocean of white people.
Oh, that's funny. It's like some of my stand-up shows.
Is that kind of that? Do you remember filming? Was this stuff sort of filmed sequentially, like in order, or?
A lot of the stuff in Canada was kind of filmed pretty close to in sequence.
Nice.
It's the Jamaica stuff was sort of all over the place.
Nice, cool. And we get
we named the sled already. They wanted to name it my mother's name. I wanted to name it my mother's name.
Not yet. You're jumping ahead. That's once it's been painted.
Oh right, yeah, sorry.
We'll get to Tallulah, don't worry. We're not going to leave Tallulah out of this.
I bet she's in the porno.
Oh
yeah, she has to be. We're ruining some childhoods here.
Mainly Simon's.
It's true.
This happens on our podcast almost every episode. We sort of get to this sort of mark, like, good 2/3 in, and then we just start going very off of the rails. So we get to the practice run, but Irv says this time we're not going to do a push start. We're just going to go down, and then we've got the Germans just being douchebags.
Yeah, they'll be all right.
I mean, they're okay in the end, but I mean, Dom, what did you make of this douchery?
What, from the East Germans?
Yeah, East Germans.
And,
yes.
And they're East German. That doesn't even exist anymore. That's why I don't feel that bad.
I'm pretty sure by this point the Berlin Wall has come down, so they're just Germans.
Right.
So I thought they were, they have to play the classic villain, don't they? So I'm going to do it this week, Simon. Simon has an obsession with Die Hard, and the bad guy is always a German. So Die Hard, bad guy's German, and Cool Runnings, the bad guy's German. So it kind of fits.
Hans, Bobby, I'm your white knight.
It's perfect.
I mean, a lot of times he's British now. I mean, nowadays.
Yeah, that's true.
So everyone gets a turn. It's like revolving bad guy.
Yeah.
Well, it's a German played by a British guy normally.
Yeah, true. That's right, Alan. Even Andy Serkis, he
Alan
did the
Rickman.
South African version.
Yeah, that's true as well. Yeah.
Junior has a great line where he says, "Seems like no one likes us." And Yule says, "We are different. People don't like what is different." Again, this is brilliant dialogue that you could just put out there and just, put that on a bumper sticker.
Yeah. It's a license plate kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's great. It's great writing. We then get some more sort of German douchebagness. We find out it's Yusuf Gruhl is the main antagonist here. We have the push.
What's the name?
Gruhl. It's just say what it is,
Rhymes with cruel.
Exactly that. 50 will love that. He loves rhyming. So we get the push start. And they're off, and there's lots of screaming by Sanka, and it's almost like reminds you of when your friends sort of force you to go on a roller coaster that you don't want to go on when you're a kid, and you start shouting at them how much you hate them. And it's all a bit all over the place, and then crash into the tunnel. Sanka's saying, Duri says, "Sanka, you're dead?" "Yeah, man." And then he says, "You can pee now." Too late. Because he wanted to pee before it started.
And then there's the reboot of that joke. "You're dead."
That's it. Yeah.
It keeps coming back. I'm wondering, like, one day, years from now, when he actually dies, that's gonna be sort of a joke, probably. Sanka.
It's gonna be a big meme, isn't it?
Yeah, it's gonna come back to. It's a bit morbid.
It's very morbid, Rawle. That's where your mind goes.
I'm just saying these things, that we say when we're young, and then someone makes a joke about it later on.
When we have Dougie Doug on, we'll let him know what he says.
He'll think that's funny.
Yeah,
we get along great too. So, well, we did. Till that comment.
Do you remember filming that, or would that have been like the stunt guys doing that sort of practice run?
I remember filming when John Candy pushed. What happens was he tucked us in, John Candy, and pushed us, and we were going down the sled. But so he pushed us down the door, and there was a cable that held us up, and stopped us from going all the way down. Filming that was the stunt guys who did the actual thing, and another thing is that there wasn't, all our stunt guys weren't black.
Oh really?
We had like white. Yeah, we had white. Well, because there wasn't a lot of black bobsledders back then. So,
who they should have used as your stunt guys? They should have used Denzel, Eddie Murphy, Wesley Snipes, and who was the other? Marlon Wayans.
Marlon Wayans. Yeah, that's true. But I thought it was hilarious how they had in the outfit. You can't tell what who anybody is, but they what they did is they did not blackface but black neck.
Oh well.
Where you put the polish or whatever it was on the person's. So yeah, but that's pretty funny. So they were not in blackface because that wouldn't be good apparently, but and incidentally, this another sidebar is there were a couple of British students who I sort of protected them a little bit because they were, as a joke, to dress up. Do you guys have Halloween?
Yeah.
Well, it was some costume parties, and they went as the Jamaican bobsledders, and they did blackface. Ooh. And people got a little upset, and I was like, yeah, you can reprimand them, but don't call them racist just because they obviously are dressing up like characters, their favorite characters that they like. They weren't like, because they were kind of clueless. They're like, oh, what, this is wrong?
Right, they're more stupid than racist, we'd hope.
Exactly. I think, and that's kind of how I preface it. I was like, look, being dumb is not necessarily racism.
But good teachable moments nonetheless, though, right?
Yeah, make it a teachable moment, not a preachable moment. Don't.
Oh, that's nice. That's bumper sticker material right there.
don't blast these guys and call them racist and label them for life just because they like 4 black guys. How is that? Anyway, it's a whole other.
Was that like on social media? Did they like tag you in it or something?
Well, I mean, yeah, because one of them is my friend, and he was just showing me the picture. He was all proud of it, and then a few days later, it all hell broke loose, and people were ready to burn him at the stake. Like, come on, guys, they're like teenagers, man. They give us a break. They don't know anything about blackface. They're trying to be, tonally correct. They're trying to match the melanin content with shoe polish. No, but I mean, it's like that sometimes we're too quick to jump at that word, because that's something that taints you. It's just not understanding context. If I knew nothing about if I knew nothing about the history of Nazis, I would wear a swastika and think, oh, this is just a Tibetan symbol for universal, And then I didn't realize these guys used it too, to mean something else. It's the one who uses it for the worst thing gets most of it overshadows everything else.
Good moments on this podcast. We're getting deep. We're going to Cool Runnings porn. We're touching all the bases.
Oh, don't say porn and touching bases.
See, this guy's got skills, man.
So we move to the hotel, and then Sanka has a hot plate, and they say about Yul says, "Oh, those bananas stink" or something like that. But to me, that looked like he was cooking plantain. Was it not?
Yeah. He's calling it fried bananas, but I don't know why they didn't let him say plantain, because that's what we call it.
Yeah, see, that's an interesting thing you saying that. So in the UK, in London, people get criticised if they call it plantain. They say you got to say plantain, but I think that's like it's our accent. So like it's a big thing. My wife's always like, oh, they don't really know if they're calling it plantain. So when I hear him saying about the bananas, I'm like, they must have done that to dilute it for an American audience, But you would. What do they call it in the West Indies? Are they calling it plantain or plantain?
We call it plantain. Plantain.
It's more reason to divorce her, isn't it?
You're just looking for anything. Is it the coronavirus getting to you? It's causing a lot of divorce.
No, I love my wife very much. Okay, it's on record. Moving on. No. Yeah, so this is a great scene of, so we've got the hot plate, and Yul and Sanka are sort of going back and forth and talking about the comic book and saying it's for children, and Sanka's saying he can't read and this, that and the other. And this is where you're in the background sort of like laughing and smirking at it. And so like we were saying earlier, like it almost to me felt like it looked like you'd been sort of sheltered from this kind of stuff, and you hadn't really seen this sort of brotherly, back and forths before.
Banter.
The banter.
The only child.
Yeah, exactly. So I thought they were really clever choices. And then we find out about Yul wants to live in Buckingham Palace, but then Junior sticks up for Yul, and he basically says, all he has to do is know what he wants and work hard for it. And the world would be a lot better if we had more Yul Brenners in it, not just for the world, but for Jamaica. And this is it's a brilliant scene because it also levels the ground again between Junior and Yul and sort of forms this friendship. Like, do you remember shooting this scene?
Yeah, I remember being excited. I couldn't wait to shoot it because everybody was excited for the other scenes that you will get to where like elevator and mirror where we're bonding. But this was one of my favorites because is what it's saying to everyone, not just about the world, and optimism and going after what you want. It was reiterating the point of the movie.
Exactly. Brilliant scene. Dom, what did you think on this scene?
He gets shot down pretty quick, doesn't he, by Sanka, and then beautifully built back up again by his best pal, or his soon-to-be best pal.
Was that especially funny in England because we were talking about Buckingham Palace and all that?
It's funny when it's mentioned. So when Buckingham Palace is brought up, and then it's like that's where the Queen of England lives, and he looks so disappointed.
That's his perfect house. That's where he wants to live.
But he gets told he'll get his palace. It's fine.
Yeah, he had a vision board.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's on his vision board. That's right. If this was 2020, he would have been showing you all of that on a Pinterest board.
right.
Yeah.
We then get some more practice runs. Sanka has a hot water bottle in his, within his sort of coat or jacket or whatever. And this time we get the real push start. But the judges are sort of on-looking, being very much like naysaying, being negative. You know, what are they doing? They're embarrassing the sport, etc. But then you guys can't get in the bobsled and kind of like fall over. And at that point, the paparazzi get a photograph, and that goes back into the newspapers, back to Jamaica, and the commissioner sees it, and your dad sees it, and sort of starts off that sort of section of the film of now people know what's happening, and it's not starting off on the right foot.
That's based on truth, by the way. A lot of at the time people were worried about. They're like, oh, I hope this doesn't come off as some embarrassing gimmick. Because the guys who were the bobsledders, the actual bobsledders, were really serious and really wanted to compete. And some people were worried about it being sort of a publicity stunt.
Well, it's a good way to, as like a plot device in the movie, to sort of move things forward. We then get to Dries is cleaning the sled, and then this is where I think it was Larry, like you said earlier, the Team USA guy comes over and sort of tells Dries and the audience what Irv had done, like the shame of the nation, putting weights in the front of the bobsled and was stripped of a gold medal. I actually read online that that's actually not considered cheating in bobsledding, and that actually people do put weights in the sled to sort of balance it out. So there you go. Maybe he should have been able to keep his medal.
Yeah. Well, both of them. He won 2 gold medals, remember?
He did. And it was Larry, Rawle, because Irv then says, "You giving my kid a few pointers, Larry?" And then Larry says, in typical antagonist fashion, he needs all the help he can get.
I'm loving the American accent there.
Thank you. Or he says something like,
Pretty good.
He needs all the help he can get, coach.
It's pretty good. Did you go to RADA?
I don't know what RADA is.
Isn't that
Do I?
No, isn't it not known?
It's the Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts.
Why would I... Okay, look, apart from the fact I have a perfect singing voice, that's natural. It wasn't taught, okay, guys? But it does remind me that really what Irv needed to do was rise above it. Everyone, come on.
Rise above it.
I think this podcast is going to be a hit. You guys together. I think it's going to be. I'm at the beginning end of a big hit podcast.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, that means a lot. I mean, we just do this for fun because we just enjoy it, and this really is like childhood dreams to be able to talk to you, someone that was in one of my favorite films. It's just it's brilliant. So we're just grateful for your time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean now, but when it becomes a hit, you're gonna be jerks.
Simon will be.
Once I get my record deal off of the back of this.
All your songs written by Bono and The Edge.
Yeah. No, we'd love to have you back on at any point. So yeah.
Oh yeah, no problem, man. I'm telling you, I'm at the ground floor of a great podcast series.
We're gonna, if with your permission, we're gonna put that as a testimonial on our website.
You got it.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so Doris is. Oh yeah, we've done that bit.
Great podcast, mate.
I haven't edited it yet, Dom. Okay. Right, so now Yule and Junior are friends, but Junior gets a telegram. Basically, his dad knows, and it's time he needs to come home. I just have to add that the hat that you're wearing in this scene is so cool. And I've thought that hat has been so cool since I was like 6 to now. I want that hat, and I'm so sad that you didn't get to steal it.
Oh yeah, that's another thing, man. I should have gotten to keep that hat.
The sweatshirt you're wearing is awesome.
Yeah, I don't know about the sweatshirt. That was a little loud, right? Like I'm in California, so there's no need for really to have sweaters that much.
Right, but you could have sent it to me. But okay.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's true.
Is it the purple one with like patterns?
That's it.
Is that the one you're talking about? Yeah, okay. Cool. Yeah, definitely could have sent that to Simon.
Oh, not you. What?
No.
This is a great scene, and it's like it's the precursor to, we're getting to the big mirror scene. So we then move to the country bar, and this is great, and a word that I try to make sure I use on every episode of the podcast is a great juxtaposition to the Jamaicans, to the country, dare I say, redneck type people, but friendly for the most part until we get into the brawl in a minute. But this is great. We've got Sanka sort of doing the line dancing, howdy partner, so on and so forth. But then Yule and Junior are talking, and Yule is backing you up, saying, if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be here. But Junior thinks he should go home, and then you get frustrated and you say, what should I do? And slam your beer on the table, and then Yusuf Rawle starts being a real douchebag to you.
Hey, Jamaica, keep it down or something, right? Doesn't he? He's like, hey, you're lucky to even be here, buddy.
It's as Dom said, it's pure antagonistic behaviour to make us as the audience hate him, which I do. Even when he claps for you at the end, I'm still thinking, yeah, you can clap now, you're still a douchebag.
There's one great moment where he's just got a cigarette in his mouth as well.
Yeah, while cleaning the sled. Yeah,
that
was the
randomly
actor's choice.
Really?
I think he wanted to be a Bond villain. He was just prepping for that.
Well, what was that actor like? Like, did you speak to him much before or rehearse the scene much? Or anything?
Yeah, he was great. I actually really liked that guy a lot. He was. I don't think anybody knew what this movie was going to be, but he just thought it would be fun to play. He goes, I'm an East German jerk. He had fun with it.
Well, and he was brilliant with it, because to make you hate him that much is obviously a credit to his performance, because to evoke emotion. So,
and he was a nice guy.
Well, there you go. So even better.
I think I could have kicked his ass in real life, though. I mean, I had that was acting on my part.
Okay. You saved a life that day.
Yeah.
But it gets even worse, where he says, you have no business here, you and your stupid friend. You want to say something? And then this is where Yule stands up and he sort of backs off, and then he sort of drags you to the bathroom.
To man up. Yeah, which this was very odd in the beginning, but yeah, sure. Because if a guy's dragging me to the bathroom, I'm not going to go.
Well, they definitely reenacted this in the porno version.
Yeah, because the whole pride power thing is a whole other power struggle.
Yeah. Well, this is then the classic scene, which I'm sure is so memorable, where Yule is, saying, "What do you see when you look in the mirror?" And Junior doesn't know what he sees, and he says, "I see pride, I see power, I see a badass mother that won't take no crap out of nobody. Once again, Dominic."
I see pride. I see power. I see the badass mother who don't take no crap of nobody.
Rawle.
I see pride. I see power. I see a badass mother who don't take no crap from nobody.
Junior Bevel. My hands were sweating. I put you on the spot, and I was like, I don't want to have to. He's not going to do it, but you did it. That's amazing. that scene and those lines in your voice delivery, I hear it in my head sometimes. Like just when I, on a down moment, it hypes me up.
Oh, good. I like that. It's on all these memes and these motivational speakers. Someone will send me, "Hey, look what they edited in on this guy's motivational speech." It's like him and I in the mirror, and sometimes I have to do that now just to go to the grocery store.
In COVID, definitely, yeah.
Yeah, in COVID times.
Is this something that, fans over the years have, shouted at you and requested for you to say and things like that?
Absolutely. Yeah, at restaurants, and people will be like, "Hey, can you just say this to my mom? She's, And then sometimes I don't want to do it, but they'll say, "Oh, well, he's my brother just got out of a coma. And that's his favorite movie." So I'm like, all right, I can't say, screw your brother and his coma. I said, nah, I gotta do it, and it's fun. And once I get into it, it's fun. But a lot of times I'm not in the momentum of leading up to that. I'm just, I just got dumped by some girl or something. And someone comes up and says, "Hey, can you do the pride power thing?" I'm like, "Well, I'm not really feeling that right now."
When you were filming it, or when you read it on the page, etc., did you think that this would be such a powerful point in the movie?
It's so funny. I was into that Buckingham Palace thing. I was all excited to do that and Elevator, but I think this was actually my screen test. That scene and the scene with the dog was a screen test to be in the movie. And I remember when I did the screen test, Malik and I, there were several actors who were up for that role, 3 different versions of each of us.
Yeah.
Down to the final 3. And so Malik and I were teamed up together. And once we finished the scene, the guy who was running the camera for the screen test when he stopped the camera, he looked around the camera. He dropped the camera and looked at us and gave us a thumbs up. Wow, that was really cool. So I think at that point I knew that scene was special to people.
Nice. It is. It's powerful. Dom, what did you think of this powerful scene?
It's a really pivotal moment, especially for your sort of character arc as well, because you've gone through being the nice kind of gentle one that's the voice of reason to now being the one that's really going to go for what you want based on what you all is saying, and you've made a friend out of the tough guy who doesn't want any friends. Mm-hmm. And then it becomes a whole sort of different story of actually it's about becoming a team, isn't it, as well, as much as it's about sort of personal development, and that's kind of the pivotal change in that mirror.
Nicely said.
It's another very, very well said. That's why you guys are headed straight to the top.
Well, this is where then we go back into the bar, and Junior tells the German off, but still very politely. But then he starts sort of pushing you around, and then Yule arrives, and gets, and punches the guy. And then Junior, or you then bottle the guy and then look very happy with yourself with like a broken bottle of glass. And then Sanka from across the room starts to see this brawl and he's like, sorry lady, gotta go, and just runs and jumps into the middle of it. That must have been a lot of fun to
that
film.
Was a lot of fun. And then I was padded, I'm not gonna lie, but we did a lot of our own stunts, and there's a lot more of us getting thrown into chairs and stuff. And that was, when you're young and fit, you think like, oh, this is fun. The stunt guy I remember my stunt guy was really upset that he wasn't getting to do stuff.
It's a great scene. And then it very quickly changes and cuts to you guys sort of sat on the bed in the hotel room, and Doris is sort of, telling you off, and you're all still sort of like laughing under your breath. Doris is saying, you don't see the Swiss guys fighting, and then they're sort of saying, well, you also don't see the Swiss guys laughing. And if they were to see a nice young lady, they'd try and push her down some dry ice. And it sort of shows the difference that, again, Doris is going down this path of trying to mimic other people, where actually he needs to just be himself and be proud to be who he is.
Yeah, but it's like a lesson for all of us, and trying to imitate greatness instead of finding the greatness within us.
Wow, we are guys, we are killing this.
So deep.
Life lessons are coming out of this podcast, I tell you now. So Irv comes over, he handles things, he's very angry, and he says, look, they hate you, they hate me, they hate us. Basically they need to switch it up, which I guess I didn't really think about it until this viewing, that actually Irv, or John Candy's character, it's kind of perfect that actually, he is also treated as like an outsider as well because of his, previous history. So it allows him to be, more aligned and relate, I guess, more to the Jamaican team.
Yeah.
And then the next day they're saying, or Irv's saying, he's going to whip them into shape. But the next morning, you guys wake up Irv, and then we get a nice training montage to, does anyone know what song?
Wow, life. Right? No? Check out the da. Oh.
I think that I'm worried I'm wrong because you're in it, but I think it's Rise Above It.
Never mind. Oh yeah, you're right.
I think your song you're thinking of comes in a little bit later.
Yeah, I think I'm doing the Talking Heads or something.
We get a great montage. This is where you're pushing the weights up with your legs and doing the pull-ups. Were you really doing them pull-ups?
Oh yeah.
For real?
Yeah.
Okay.
I did. Well, I mean, I was on the. No, I actually had to do. Doug was the only one that they helped. I think we all had to do it, but we were so well trained by then. That was like one of the last things we were shooting in Canada.
Right, been through the boot camps.
Yeah, we'd been through all of. So I could have done it. That whole thing took less than 15 minutes to shoot.
Oh wow!
That with each person,
Yeah.
And I think Doug was the one they spent the most time with because he actually couldn't. He wasn't training at all.
Another thing I didn't get from this scene is when Malik, so Yul Brynner is doing the pull-ups, his gloves have got like the German flag on them.
Oh yeah, that might have been a mistake.
They're not Jamaican colours. They're like it's black, red, and yellow.
Yeah, well, the other thing too is like all the equipment. Like Jamaica makes none of that equipment, so a lot of the equipment we were using, even the sled, was like made by Swiss or somebody else.
Yeah.
So we had a hodgepodge of clothing and material. That was kind of the whole thing.
Oh, okay. So that might explain it then.
There's great moments here with like throwing the snowballs at Irv on the bridge, and you practicing the turns in the bathtub. And it's all really good and good sort of team
Another
bonding.
meme that I get all the time.
Or the
Another
bathtub.
really popular meme.
Nice.
Wish you could get paid for memes.
Yeah.
Well, that's funny because in the build up to this podcast, I've been sending Dom like little gifs and memes and stuff. Is it gifs or gifs? I've never known.
I don't know.
I would say GIF.
What do you say, Rawle?
I say both because I have no idea which one's right.
Yeah.
Tomato.
That's it. Well, I was sending those to Dom ahead of this podcast, and there's tons of the Cool Runnings ones with you in it. So yeah, they someone owes you a paycheck.
Yeah, I wish I could get paid for them because I get them all the time. Some in the 4 Jamaicans in a tub, rub-a-dub-dub,
So we get to the qualifiers night, and there's the unveiling of the world-class uniforms for Jamaica, which are awesome. Again, this would have been a great prop for you to have stolen.
Oh yeah, I should have kept that too.
There's so many things that you could have had.
I should have definitely kept the bobsled suit because that would be I just would like to freak some girl out when I take my robe off and I've got that on,
With the helmet on.
Yeah, well, for safety.
Yeah. Safety first.
I need it for my exploits.
So then the judges tell Irv, and it's very sort of cold. One of the judges is sick, so he's got the night off. So it's this other judge that like hates Irv. He's like head of the committee, and the rules have changed. Now to qualify, it has to be in 1 minute flat. To which Irv says, "No problem, man." It was a terrible accent. I'm so sorry.
No, I mean, I think John Candy's wasn't that much better either, but that was the fun of it.
Right. Okay. Great. Then
the attempt is the fun.
Yeah, and it's almost like his sort of. I guess it shows that he's also grown as a character from being at the beginning where he's like beating up, radios in bars to now maybe taking some of the calmness, learning from, the Jamaican bobsled team to, okay, fine, no problem. We'll just we'll do what we do.
Right. Yeah, he's having more confidence and faith in us.
Yeah, exactly. There's more of that team dynamic, I guess.
Yeah.
We get to the qualifying trial, and Derice is doing the irons by dry, and you go, and the way it's filmed anyway, it looks super fast. It goes all the way around, and then we get the moment of you guys looking up at the screen to see is it going to be under 60 seconds, and Dom, how many seconds was it?
Oh, is it 56.05?
Oh wow.
It was not. Sorry, Dom. Rawle, do you know?
59?
It was 59. 59 point what, though?
59.15.
Oh, 46. 59.46. But John Candy has this great reaction. He's just like grabbing the people that he's in the booth with, like, look at the time, look at the time. It's so brilliant because that is how you would feel. And then I've noted here, now we've only probably got less than a third of the film left. Remember I said I cried 5 times watching this film. Here's the first tally. Bam. Here was the first tears that dropped down my face.
That scene. When they made the time. Oh, yeah. I keep saying they like it wasn't like I wasn't there, but I that's this film. I remember watching it and saying, "Oh, they made it."
You did it.
Yeah, because sometimes I feel like it wasn't me. If that makes sense.
Yeah, like a different life ago almost.
Yeah, like it was. I'm watching it like a spectator.
Is that easier to kind of watch it as if it's someone else?
Yeah, I think so. Because then I get into it more. It's like when I watch stand up. If I watch it as not a comedian, I enjoy it more.
Yeah.
As a comedian, I'm looking at all the scenes and and all the intricacies that goes into it.
You analyze too much.
Yeah, and it's not really well. It's like being I've seen people who are around dead bodies. People who work in morgues and stuff, and they're like eating a sandwich and stuff.
Just most of us.
Yeah, most of us would be freaked out, and that's how I feel like I've seen too much comedy, or when you're in a movie, you know too much. There's too much data to take in. So you're like, oh yeah, that's when they had those nice little sugar pops on the set.
Nice.
They had a nice hors d'oeuvre. Or the director was probably like upset with you for laughing too much. So you're remembering too much as far as just focusing on the scene.
Right.
Yeah.
It still was all so much fun anyway. So for that movie, it's easy to lose yourself.
Well, that's good. And it's good that you have these positive memories of it. It helps to leave it that way, I guess, to leave it positive.
Yeah. No one was doing coke on the set or nothing like that, so it was great.
Nice. Perfect.
That
Everything. Anytime you allude to something positive and then the negative, I instantly just think, well, the negative must have been Kevin Spacey.
No, he was barely there. I didn't really see him that much. Kevin Spacey, that is.
Yes. So we move to the next scene, and this is this is where the team they painted the sled. It looks amazing, love it. And then we go into this little bit of like a Coca-Cola advert here, where you guys have got the Coke from the glass bottle, which is always the best way to have a Coke. And you're like cheers into everything, trying to name the sled. And then you say you'd like to name the sled Tallulah after your mother, to which Sanka says that sounds like the name of a $2 hooker.
Hooker. I remember that.
That cuts deep.
I thought that was odd that he would know what a $2 hooker was. For a Disney movie, that's like Sanka in Jamaica. How many $2 hookers do you know?
Right. Yeah. Celebrating those Pushcart Derby wins.
Yeah, exactly. The fact that you would even know what their familiarity with their names.
Derice says wants to call it Cool Run-Ins, and they say, well, what's that mean? And it's Peace Be the Journey, which is really nice. Love that. And then more people come, and it's like they're like cheers and everything. Hey, the man in the iron suit. Hey, the messenger. And then the messenger says that they have just got disqualified. So adding more tension.
That was all improvised, by the way.
Really?
John Candy. Yeah, the man in the iron suit to the messenger. That's all. Dougie Doug and John Candy's coming up with funny stuff.
Oh, nice. Well, it looks all natural, that scene. It's part of, it sort of radiates off the screen, I guess.
Mm-hmm. He's a good improviser, by the way, John Candy.
I could believe that. It seems, he's just so watchable, isn't he? Like, So we then get to the scene where Irv storms the boardroom, and they're saying to him, well, you've disqualified because the team had to take part in an international race to qualify. And then Irv saying, well, the qualifiers used to act as an international race. Well, we changed the rules. It was in the best interest of the sport. And then we get the line from Irv, which was probably the most, like, oh, they said this in a Disney movie in the 90s where he said, oh, I didn't realise, didn't know that black guys in a sled would make you blush, which sort of, sets the tone of a bit of, like, realness of what they're doing. He apologises for cheating in the past and says, if you want to do something, do it to me, not to them. They've done everything that you've asked of them. They've done it while you've been laughing in their face. They deserve to wave their flag, and that is what the Olympics is all about. And the way he delivers his whole performance, the line delivery, it's so powerful that guess what, guys? This is where I got my second lot of tears.
Oh, wow, that's pretty cool.
Dom, what did you think of this scene?
He rewrote that, by the way. Just a little side note.
Who John Candy did?
Yeah, he didn't, but he had them rewrite it to be that very scene because it was a little bit different, and he wanted to say something there.
Like, do you think it was a bit more diluted and he punched it up a little bit, maybe?
Yes, definitely. Because I was familiar with the entire script before that, and he really he was more direct, and I think the Disney version of that script was more shied away from being that blunt.
Well, it's pivotal, I think, in and needed to sort of move the story forward, but also to say that is wrong. What did you make of this scene, Dom?
Yeah, I agree. The fact that sort of John Candy has had a hand in changing these things as well. Like you've said all the way through that he was a great guy and wanted to do the film, and just all these little bits that you keep adding in just proves that more and more. I think as the more we discuss it, it was great. I like that. I love things like that.
We then quite quickly are in a hotel room, all eagerly waiting by the phone. The phone rings and we're back in. Hey, so. It worked. It's quite a quick turnaround. Which now means that you guys are in the Olympics, and I was actually shocked to see there's only like 20 minutes left of the film at this point. So the last bit here, section of actually being in the Olympics, actually goes quite quickly. We're we go back to Jamaica, and everyone is sort of watching, and this sort of like bar, restaurant type thing, and the crowds are getting bigger, and kids are writing up on the chalkboards like the standings of the different countries and everything, very much pre-Google. And then we get you guys waving the flag on TV to the opening ceremony, and then you checking into the athletes' village. And Junior has tons of baggage.
Yeah, because I'm rich.
Yes.
I'm rich, bitch.
You got that dog in there. That's why it's so docile. It's in the baggage.
Yeah. Drugged.
Irv then leads a prayer for the team in one of the rooms, and then Junior's father arrives. And we then get the elevator scene.
Oh, yeah.
So this is another pivotal moment that you're getting. So, like, Doris gets some of these moments as well, but you could argue that you get the most, almost like some of these more solo sort of moments like this throughout the film. So, like you said, the producers were saying you do hold the sort of dramatic arc for the movie.
Yeah.
Do you remember filming this one? Was this like a hard one to film because it's quite emotional? Or?
Yeah, I remember looking forward to filming that too. I don't think I was smart enough to know to be afraid.
Right.
I was just like, I'm in a movie. This is gonna be fun. And but I remember giving an idea to the director. There was a mirror in that elevator.
Yeah.
And I remember telling the director, I go, "Oh, there's a mirror in this elevator. I should look at it, and it's going to remind me of." Now, granted, we hadn't filmed. This is prior to us filming the scene where Malik's character takes me into the bathroom. But I remember from the scripts, I said, "Hey, if he looks into this mirror, it's going to remind him of when Malik told him to look in the mirror." And the director, I remember at the time, goes, that's kind of cheesy, kid.
Oh,
Oh, no way.
And so he shoots it all of these other ways, and then finally goes, all right, do your mirror thing. And I look, and then because then they had to cover it, with a close up, So I remember I did that, and he said, I remember I saw him later on, and he goes, "Damn it, you were right about that mirror thing. I wish we." He goes, because the editor was like, "Oh, this is great. This is brilliant." And I go, "Yeah, I guess this kid was right." And I only let him do one take.
that's so funny you say that, because I completely noted that as well. That you're looking into the mirror, it's the callback to to the mirror scene earlier. So I thought that was written in. So that makes it even better that was a choice on your behalf.
Yeah, well, I think it was because I was the reader, so I had read that script so many times.
Right. Hey, man, you can take this compliment's for you. You just take that compliment, man. You did it.
Yeah, I'm badass.
You are. You have pride. You're a badass mother. So it's a brilliant scene. Basically, your dad's saying you're coming home. You're saying the team needs me. And then you ask him, what do you see? Tell me what you see, please. And he says he sees a lost little boy. To which you say, I'm a man. I'm an Olympian. And I'm staying right here. And then as the camera pans away, we see that Yul, a bit creepily actually, was watching the entire time, and then says, Junior Bevel, badass mother.
Yeah.
That's a great scene.
Made me cry.
Wow. I'm sorry to say, but my third lot of tears are not here yet. Are they not? You'd think that they would be. No, they're not. Oh, third tears come at the bottom of my next page. So, okay. We then get a quick flash to Olympic pins, and this actually resonated with me a little bit personally now, as I actually went to the Special Olympics last year. I actually coached basketball for Great Britain, and people were doing, obviously it's not the Olympics, but it's part of the Olympic family, and pin swapping is like a massive deal, and people were pin swapping everywhere. So I thought it was a really cool little detail for them to put in there.
Yeah. I never even thought about that.
Yeah, it's and some of them are worth like a ton of money. Olympic badges from Dom. You know all about the Olympics. What ones were we talking about the other day? The '92 Olympics, all of that stuff. Yeah,
well, we were talking about '92 Olympics because you thought Linford Christie was all of a sudden your brother.
Oh yeah, that's right.
But actually, you know when the guys fall over at the beginning because they're training for they're trying to qualify for the 1988 Olympics, and they're told that they have to go to the one in 4 years' time. That would have been the 1992 one in Barcelona, which we talked about last week. Yay!
It all ties in.
One big loop.
Well, so this is where we get the commentators start. So this is the Olympics actually starting. Derice is watching the Swiss again, sort of mesmerised by them. And then you're about to do your first run, and Derice is hitting everyone's helmets, sort of imitating the Swiss. Irv is saying, look, it's just like every other run, to just like relax. And then Junior says, can you remember?
Yeah, except this time a lot of people are watching? Or?
Yeah, there's 100 million people watching.
Oh, okay.
Which is a great...
100 million? That's a lot of people. That's good ratings.
That's great ratings, yes. Well, it's 1987 as well. It's probably like, cable's not that much of a thing. Or probably,
right.
I don't know. But yeah, we then get the 1, 2, 3. And you guys are very slow to get in, and the commentator's saying, oh, how embarrassing. The time is good enough for last place. And so sort of didn't do a great job that day.
And the sled's like smashing off all the edges and out of control.
Yeah. Doesn't back in Jamaica one of the Mama Coffee, whatever, she's like, he's better watch his mouth. She's talking about that.
Yeah, and then someone she's like, you better watch something else or something like that.
Yeah, I remember her. She was funny.
She was cool. Was she actually Jamaican?
Yes. Everybody was Jamaican except us and John Candy.
Right. Okay.
Even Joseph Gruel was Jamaican.
Yeah. So we then get back to the room, and Irv is basically saying, "You guys choked. You need to stay loose out there, and I can't help you with that." And then Doris starts saying, "Well, you know, when the Swiss," and then you guys are all like, "Shut up about the Swiss. We have our own style." And this is where Sanka sort of comes up with another pivotal point of the film is, you know, I didn't come up here to forget who I am and forget where I came from. We are Jamaican, so we need to bobsled Jamaican.
Yeah.
Which is a great scene. And again, like sort of undertone in the movie, yeah.
Yeah, another plot turn. Right? I mean, there was the mirror. I mean, it's the mirror kind of thing where he's finally becomes a man or something. And then there's that part there where the whole team becomes themselves.
Exactly. And this is sort of Doris's arc, I guess, is that he's finally realising he just needs to, be himself and not be in other people's shadows. Because I guess back on the island is in his dad's shadows, and then here he's sort of trying to imitate the Swiss. So, yeah. Which then lovely takes us to the next scene where the next day you guys are all singing. You know, Jamaica, we've got a bobsled team. I think is it you? You give Irv the Rasta hat? Or Sanka maybe does?
Yes.
Or was it you?
I think I do.
Yeah.
John Candy?
Yeah. So you're sort of making him like an honorary Jamaican at this point.
Yeah.
And then this is the first time where we get Sanka saying, "Feel the rhythm, feel the ride. Give it up, it's bobsled time. Cool runnings." And then it's saying, "They're a hair faster than the Swiss." And then this...
They were possessed.
Yes, they were possessed. And would you believe it, this is where my third set of tears came in. Because you guys did it.
Yeah. I like that.
Well, you think I'm joking, but I actually sent a picture to Dominic earlier when I was watching this of the tears on my face. I was a mess.
There was a lot on there.
Irv then says, he's like, "Woo!" Grabs a random person, is celebrating, and this pushes the Jamaicans up to 8th place. We then move to Doris, is looking at pictures of turns in his hotel room. He's talking to Irv, and this is kind of, you know, the rest of the guys are going to go out to eat, and this is sort of touching back to what Irv said at the start of the movie of that, you know, the driver has to take the responsibility of looking at the turns while everyone else is out having a good time, etc. And this is where Doris wants to know why Irv cheated. Irv basically saying that he had to win. He'd made winning his whole life. You know, a gold medal is a wonderful thing, but if you're not enough without it, you'll never be enough with it. To which he says, "How will I know? You'll know when you cross the finish line."
Yeah, that was a very good, another life coach lesson right there.
It's a brilliant scene, and again, I guess the movie does great at weaving in these more serious moments with some of the comic relief moments, with the drama. Like, it's a real perfect blend. Yeah, it's great. What did you make of this one, Dom?
It's got some really good sort of tone changes, hasn't it? So it goes from being jovial, and then all of a sudden, like he walks in like, "Hey, we're gonna go and get some food. Do you want to come?" And Doris is a bit like pensive, isn't he? And he's obviously nervous, and it's a big day for him. And it then brings it right back down to earth with this, you know, actually with that exact line. You know, gold medal was a wonderful thing, but if you're not enough without it, you'll never be enough with it. And it's just sort of shoots you straight back down to earth again, doesn't it? Before you hit that rise again, before you guys go to the slopes again.
And you also figure out that Irv, the coach, John Kerr, has a chance to rectify his mistakes. You see that he's come full circle. He's learned his lesson.
It's like redemption.
Yeah, his past mistakes and not haunting him as much.
Nice. Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
good point. Really good point.
We then move back to the commentators, and the commissioner, Mr. Coolidge, has now joined the rest of the Jamaicans at this bar, which is great. He's showing out in support. The commentators have, as they call it, Jamaican fever, and they sort of show the sweatshirts, and this is them sort of showing that everyone's now respects and accepted Jamaica. And it's funny how I guess everyone has accepted them now that they are just being authentically themselves.
Yeah, I got that sweatshirt, by the way. That's one things I did keep.
Oh really? That's cool.
I sometimes use it as pajamas.
That's dope.
Nice.
That's awesome. That's funny because I when I was watching it just today, I thought, I bet people do versions of that on like eBay or something. That'd be a dope sweatshirt. So the fact you have an authentic one, that's good enough prop stealing right there.
Yeah. Yeah. I gave most of them. I had like about a stack of them, and I gave most of them away.
Well, you had a stack of those sweatshirts. That's amazing.
Back in the day, yeah. I gave them as parting gifts.
Very cool.
Nice.
Very cool. Well, as long as you kept one for yourself, that's the main thing.
Yeah.
We move to the final race. Irv says, Doris, I'll see you at the finish line. I put here, I'm almost crying. Almost. I didn't get... It's not the fourth tears just yet. But then we get... Here we go. Feel the rhythm. Right. Firstly, is feel the rhythm. Is the second line feel the rhyme, or is it feel the ride?
Rhyme.
Rhyme.
Feel the rhythm. Feel the rhyme. Get on up. It's bobsled time.
Cool run-ins. So you have an amazing start. The commentator says, "What the heck? Go jam!"
Yeah, I always love that. He's calling them jams already. It's getting very familiar.
Yeah. A few minutes ago, you was hating on us, buddy. Pump the brakes, okay? Ease us in.
Yeah, he's only feast or famine, this guy.
Yeah.
All or nothing.
Yeah.
So one of the bolts starts to come loose inside of the sled, and then we get the crash. The helmet, sort of like the friction, like going across the ice. And then, as we were saying earlier, this is cut in with parts of the actual crash. The bit that actually always gets me is Doris's like girlfriend or wife back home, like her face when it like drops.
Oh yeah.
And then this is where my fourth set of tears came in.
Oh, when we crash.
Yeah, I mean, do you remember filming that? Like, how was all of this?
That was great because we were pulled on a wire, and there was the sled was turned to the side, and they were sliding us through it. I thought it was kind of fun, to be honest. But I remember that asking one of the real guys, because I wanted to get the sense of how he felt. I go, well, what happened? I mean, did the sled start coming apart? He goes, nah, man, me just lose control. I thought that was hilarious because the movie is giving him an excuse, and he could have taken it, and he's like, no, I just messed up.
But Dom, how did you feel watching this scene? Obviously you didn't cry because you're heartless, but I mean, did it evoke any emotion?
Well, I actually find it really difficult to watch because of the heads. Yeah. All your guys' head, like all the bobsled team's heads being dragged along.
And that's real. Well, the part where his neck is half, where that's real footage, his neck sticking out.
Yeah, where his head's like half out between the sleigh and the ice. It's really, really hard to watch. You can only sympathise and hope. Oh God! And then there's the pause, isn't there? It's like, is everyone okay? We don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, because you didn't know if anyone was injured.
Yeah, and then we all start sort of coming around. It's like, oh, there we are. They're back. They're back in the room. They're okay.
So I don't know about feeling tears. I think it's just like there's a little bit uncomfortable moment there to me. More like, uh-oh, yikes. Are they gonna survive this or what? It is a Disney movie.
Definitely the first time you watch it, there must be that fear that, especially if you're unfamiliar with the actual story, is that, you know, what's going to happen here. The paramedics run down the ice. I, since a very early age, have always noticed that the first paramedic sort of runs and has like a little fun slide as he's coming towards you.
Yeah.
It's like, buddy, this isn't the time to be sliding around here, you know.
You know, but the truth is, it's very hard to run on that thing. I think those guys were really sliding around, including us. We were concerned about carrying the sled and slipping, because walking on that thing is almost near to impossible.
Well, yeah, so that's what happens next. Well, just before that, we get the call back to Doris, you dead? And he says, no, man, I have to finish the race, because he needs to know what it feels like. He has to he has to go through that finish line. At this point, the crowd is silent, and then you guys carry the bobsled. So, like, yeah, was that, was it heavy?
Initially, yeah. And then I think they had to take some parts out. To be honest, they had to take some stuff out of it because it was initially we weren't quite cutting it. Well, it wasn't that it was heavy. It was heavy to stand on ice and carry it at the same time. Right. Because you're concerned about, because you can't really, your feet aren't really planted.
Right.
So that was really the problem.
Well, then is actually Yusuf Gruhl, or Hans Gruber, who starts the slow clap.
Mm-hmm.
And then everyone starts clapping. Everyone goes crazy. Your dad then opens up his coat and he's got the jumper on. We go through the finish line. It's a great shot of like looking up from like your guys' perspective at the bottom of like the sort of podium or whatever it is. And then with
one of the first movies, by the way, to introduce that slow clap, that the awkward, uncoordinated kind of, like, it's unintuitive slow clap. Like, it's really hard to do in real life.
Right. Well, I guess it's kind of been parodied a lot since then. Yeah. But it didn't take any weight away from me, because this is where, not just yet, we're about 30 seconds away from my fifth set of tears. So the German Yusuf Gruhl says to Doris, you sled good, Jamaica. See you in 4 years. I'm not good at accents. Dom, you're good at German accents.
Am I?
Yeah, you got. Okay, I'll give you the line. You read it back to me and Rawle, but don't be put off. You know, it's only Rawle who's was in this film. So I want you to say, "You sled good, Jamaica. See you in 4 years." East German accent. Go.
You sled good, Jamaica. See you in 4 years.
Nice.
That's good, right?
Very.
That's as good as you're gonna get.
And it was East Berlin too. It's a specific part of Germany.
Definitely what I was going for there.
So at this point, Yule kisses your head and he says, it doesn't mean I like you.
Yeah.
It's a great scene.
All right. Another tidbit is that director didn't like that initially. He was like, no, let's not do that. I mean, they shot like one or two without it. And then he goes, and then he goes, all right, let's just do one again, like that. But that's what they used in the. And he said when he was watching the movie in its entirety, that he goes, I guess that does work, because it's the guy goes from "don't touch me" to now you see that he's really softy.
Right, so that's his character arc as well, I guess.
Yeah, and so here's another situation where the actor felt like this was what was the right thing to do, and the director was like, no.
John Turteltaub, you don't know what you're doing, but you still produce amazing films. So
he did admit it. That he does admit when he goes, when you watch it in the editing room, like you're probably gonna do with this podcast, you're gonna realize, oh, some of this stuff does work.
It does fit.
Yeah. Some of the things you think are ridiculous right now, you're gonna love later on.
We're loving this whole experience. So well, Sanka then kisses his egg, and then here's where my fifth set of tears come, because Irv and Doris hug, but what did it for me was Doris says thank you, but then Irv looks at him and says thank you, because it was like actually Doris saved Irv and sort of won him his respect back and sort of gave him his life back.
Yeah.
Oh man, cut me deep. We might get the sixth set in a sec. But then we finally get the final moment. So the photograph in Mr. Coolidge's office back in Jamaica gets put up. A photograph gets taken of the team, and then that picture gets put up above Doris's picture of his dad with Irv.
Mr. Coolidge's office, right?
Mr. Coolidge's office, yeah. And then the text comes up on the screen and says, the Jamaican bobsled team returned to their country as heroes. 4 years later, they returned to the Olympics as equals. And then, to round it off, we get the end credits with, I can see clearly now the rain has gone. I could see all obstacles in my way. Hey! And there we go. Nice. That's Cool Runnings.
Wow.
How did that feel? Was that kind of a bit like a cathartic experience in a way to like go through it with scene by scene or
bit by bit?
I just don't remember the movie being that long. Yeah.
That's us stretching it out. That's what we do.
Yeah, it was like Das Boot to one of those classic.
Well, you have been absolutely amazing, and thank you so much for all
this was fun,
that.
Man.
Where
you guys are great.
Thank you. Where can people get hold of you? Like, where can they follow you on social media, or how can people support you?
They can follow me on Instagram. It's just Rawle TV, so Rawle, my first name, and then TV on Instagram.
I'll put a link to that in the description. Yeah. Is there anything else that we can let people know that you've got going on and stuff?
Well, no one has shows on anything right now, but they can look out for me. I'm starting to do more acting now. I was on Narcos just prior to this.
Oh, awesome.
There's a show called Narcos Mexico. I don't know if you guys...
Yeah, Narcos on Netflix.
Yeah, Netflix. Yeah, that's right. That and the series coming out in America. So, Hombre it's called. But I should be in England, though, last time I was there, I did this place called the Comedy Cafe Theater, and then but I'll be back out there and do the Comedy Store and all that stuff. But I put all that on Instagram before I head. But I was actually headed for a European trip. I do Amsterdam, London, and Copenhagen.
Oh, very cool.
And so we'll set that back up again when the COVID-19 is gone.
Well, the world is back to normal.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we'll link everyone to your Instagram, and then anything you've got coming up, and we'll repeat and put on our channels as well.
Yeah, they can just find me on social media. Rawle D Lewis is just everything. If you just punch in Rawle D Lewis on Facebook or Instagram, I don't do TikTok yet, but I have Twitter. I have it's too much social media, so I'm like, okay, TikTok, I'm stopping there.
Yeah. And if next time you're in London, please let Dom and I know, because we'd love to come and support you in person, and we can sing "Rise Above It" together in real life, and
Right. Or we'll just have a pint. Either way.
And a quiche.
Yeah, let's have a pint. Let's do that instead.
Pint and a quiche.
Yeah, pint and a quiche.
Yeah. Shepherd's pie. I'll have.
For sure. Well, that would be a pleasure, and it's been a real honor and a pleasure having you on the podcast. We can't thank you enough. It's been a great experience. So thank you. I'll let you know when it's edited and released and everything. And thank you so much.
Yeah, man. Big up. Respect.
It's been fantastic to talk to you and get to know a bit more about you and the film and your experiences. So thank you very much for your time. It means a lot.
Yeah, no problem. It was fun.
Well, please stay safe and stay in touch, and hopefully we can do this again sometime. We'll cover the porno version, so good stuff.
Yeah, definitely. All right, guys.
Cool. Well, take care, man. We'll speak to you soon.
All right, bye.
Thanks.
All the best. Thank you. Bye.
It was amazing having Rawle D Lewis on our podcast. He was awesome, very gracious with his time, and was great fun to talk to. But Dom, it's time to get to the judgments. So, of the primary cast, who was your favourite performer?
Okay, so what I think you would expect me to say is John Candy.
Mm-hmm.
Am I right?
Yeah.
Is that what you would expect from me? But I don't think it is John Candy.
Okay, who is it?
I think it's a combination of Dougie Doug and our new friend Rawle.
Okay, give me more.
Basically, so Dougie Doug, his character, Sanka, is almost like the linchpin of the team. Really, he kind of keeps everyone together, doesn't he? And keeps everyone grounded and based, and reminds them of who they are and where they're from, and doesn't ever want to change that, which is great. And then Junior is the one that has the biggest character arc, so it goes from being this kind of obedient rich rich kid who will do what his dad says and will go and work where his dad says because that's what he's always done, but then realizes that he has this goal that he wants to achieve something in his life. Part of that was going to the Olympics, and then he ended up going to the Winter Olympics, and that, I think the character changes, the way they're performed, the comic timing from them as well. It's all fantastic. So they're my two favourites. What about yours?
Nice. I would say it'd be a combination as well between I'm not just saying this because he's on the podcast, but because generally I think he was like the character I'd probably relate to the most, I feel, is Junior Bevel.
Yeah.
And then also I'd have to say John Candy, because he kind of makes the film for me. Like, it's just, his brilliant performance. Rawle's performance is brilliant as well, and I think together they kind of just bring these two different elements to the movie that make it so special. So I'd say those two. What about the secondary cast? I guess there's not too many to choose from there, but there's enough.
Like, who are we including as secondary cast? I actually really like the kids at the beginning. I think they're quite good. And is it Sanka's mum?
Oh yeah, Sanka's mum, and you got Doris's girlfriend or wife.
Yeah. So I think Sanka's mum's quite funny, and she brings like that little bit of comic element to the Jamaica scenes and their kind of like crowd scenes. So I'll probably say her.
Nice.
And yours?
I would say Roger from the USA team, the guy who gives him the backup sled.
Yeah.
I like him because he has one of my favourite lines of, yeah, but can lightning run on ice? I love that line. Okay, well, time to get to our judgments. So, Dom, we have our subjective judgment, so nostalgic, personal, what it means to you out of 10, and then our objective judgment of what do you think of it from like a neutral perspective watching in 2020? So subjectively, what would you rate Cool Runnings out of 10?
I think for me it's an 8.5.
Ooh, high.
Which is higher than some of the films that we've had previously and we previously featured on our podcast. I think it's one that has great comic moments, has great comic actors in it. John Candy, obviously, I think now the story of how much John Candy wanted to be in the film and kind of essentially petitioned to be in it himself really makes me feel a lot closer to it and enjoy it a lot more. Even though I know that retrospectively of watching it, I kind of look back at it and think, oh, actually, yes, it's actually really good. It's really just good fun entertainment. It is Disney, but you don't get that vibe sort of throughout it like you would with other Disney films. And it's just, there's loads of silliness in it, and I like my silliness, but there's also some really good poignant moments and some serious bits that make it a full kind of roller coaster of emotions as a film, which I really enjoy it. So yeah, 8.5 is what I'm going for.
So that way, that's your subjective. What right? What's your objective? Let's get them both.
The objective as a film, as I'm watching this film in kind of 2020, I'd probably give it a 6.5.
Okay.
I think it's kind of just a little bit lower than what IMDb has scored it.
Okay.
Or what about yourself?
So subjectively, with the nostalgia, all of that, I would have to give it the straight up 10, which obviously is high. But this, again, it's on like the Mount Rushmore for me of movies from this era and movies that mean a lot to me and ones that impacted me a lot and ones that really resonated with me. So nostalgically, subjectively, it's got to be a 10, and then objectively I would give it like still pretty high. I'd probably give it like an 8 because I think it's well written, it's got good messages in there. It's one that sort of anyone can watch and enjoy. You can watch it, kids can enjoy it, parents, adults can enjoy it, and it holds up today. Like, it's still really enjoyable, and it's pushing on towards being 30 years old. So the fact that the film can last that long, and like Rawle was saying earlier, he's still getting residual checks from it being on TV and being streamed, etc. It has a lot of staying power. So that's got to be the mark of a great film.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there we go. So, that was Cool Runnings. Dom, as I did the deep dive into this episode of the podcast, usually, what does that mean? Wait.
It normally means that you would get to pick the film that I have to deep dive into. Right,
well, let's just be honest here. So, in case you didn't know, Dom and I both have jobs because unfortunately we're not professional podcasters as much as we wish we could be. But during this COVID-19 horrible situation, my job has effectively been put on pause for the moment until we're able to sort of get past all of this. Whereas Dom, your job has been put on the fast forward almost in doing great frontline work, helping everybody. So your workload is crazy and mine is not. So I've been doing more of the deep dives because I have the time to, basically, right?
Yeah, that's right. So it's got a little bit hectic for me lately. So starting very early, finishing very late, and working a lot throughout my entire day and not really getting the opportunity to be able to do some of the things I would enjoy doing, like the deep dives on the films that we're covering.
Well, I feel lucky that you're even taking the time to be able to record, so I'm grateful for that because it definitely allows me to keep doing something, so keep me busy. you make the film selection and let me know, and I'll deep dive into it. So Dom, what movie are you going to choose for our next episode of the podcast?
Okay, I have picked one. I'm not sure if you've ever seen it, but I don't know why you wouldn't have ever seen it. So it's a good film though. It's a really good film. It's very funny, very entertaining, and you're going to love it because there's a lot of singing.
Excellent.
It's from 1992, and the film I would like us to cover and deep dive, and you deep dive, is Sister Act.
Ooh, I have seen Sister Act. Never.
Okay.
I've seen the second one, and I've seen Sister Act, the play in the West End at one point. So I know the story, but I've never seen the movie. So that's awesome. I'll enjoy that.
Nice.
Excellent. Is it like a favourite of yours, or?
It's just a really funny film from the early 90s that is very entertaining, really silly as well, and it's got some really good laughs in it, and is probably worth a bit of a dive into. Whoopi Goldberg, great in it, so worth checking it out.
I'll DM Whoopi and see if she can come on.
Why not? We might as well. I bet there's someone in that cast that would join us.
Okay, I'll get on that. Well,
challenge for you.
Excellent. Sister Act will be the next episode of the podcast. As always, thank you very much for listening. Thank you for all of your support. If you'd like to get in contact with us, you can at our website, themighty90s.com. You can send us a message on there. Give us a suggestion for a movie to do next, or just interact with us, or just give us some feedback. You can also follow us on social media, Dom.
So you can follow us on Instagram, which is at themighty90s, or you can follow us on Twitter at themighty_90s. And you can leave us a little review, so give us a little rating, a review, but please be gentle with us.
And wear gloves.
Show me the honey!
Steamboat Willie. Dude. Don't want to raise your kids. I don't even like kids.
His name is Robert Paulson.
You're not even a has-been. You're a never was.
I'm Woody. Howdy, howdy, howdy.
I'm gonna show you God does exist.
I am invincible! Go, baby, go! Once again!
I see pride!
Junior!
I see power! I see a badass mother who won't take no crap off from nobody!
That's right!